JISM stands for purity, for honor for all citizens within its grasp. Maxim stands for tyranny, destruction, and inbreeding. They tell you to respect your elders, but this elder doesn't respect you back. Fight the machine and bring peace for all. The Fourth Reich will not be stopped. I'm JISM Reich, and I approve this message.
This is RPMMORadio.
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
A podcast all about role-playing and MMORPGs.
I like what you got. Good job!
With your hosts, Ashen Phoenix, Sid, Jazz, Sibh'Bae, and Kishmas.
Everybody off. We need to go on a quick adventure.
Hello, role players. Welcome to RPMMORadio. This is our 60th episode, the derpiest of roleplay. Derpy. I'm one of your hosts, Ashen Phoenix, and of course, with me today is the full crew: Jazz, Kishmas, Sib, and Sibh'Bae.
Yay!
How's it going,
Hey,
everybody?
I'm Schneider, the stapler.
I'm not really here. I'm not really here.
He got out of halfling jail. I'm kind of surprised, Kish.
Yeah. They ever catch you after that whole dog catcher thing at the pound last week, Kishmas? They ever find you?
Nope.
All right. Still on the lamb. Well, appreciate everybody tuning in. Of course, we do this every Saturday at 7 Central Time over at twitch.tv/RPMMORadio. You, of course, can also view us or listen to us later at Apple Podcast, Android Podcast app, Spotify, Podbean, wherever free podcasts are sold. It usually goes up a day or so later. I want to also, of course, as always, give a very special thanks to all of our amazing, beautiful, sexy, and I can only assume just drowning in women or men, depends on how you go, I don't judge, of our Patreon donors.
Oh, I agree with that. Body pillows.
Body pillows, waifu pillows. I mean,
Then it could be whoever you want it to be.
it can be anybody.
It could be an anime character, just like our resident Australian does.
Kawaii. Aww.
I gotta go take a nap. I'll be back later.
She does actually have a body pillow. There's just nothing on it. Except the smell of Sib.
You should make a pillow sheet with your face on it, just plastered on it.
I think I'm going to do that, but with Nicolas Cage, because it'd be funnier.
Oh, yes.
One of those especially weird Nicolas Cage ones. Like,
Oh, dude.
like Con
The
Air.
picture from A Vampire's Kiss.
Yeah, I'm going with Con Air because that accent was horrible. I remember what it was like to be in Alabama. So, like those at a raid boss level over at patreon.com/RPMMORadio, as in the Truth Bob. Who is the best and the sexiest, and actually has not one, but 4 waifu pillows.
I mean, he's all right, I guess.
The Truth Bob!
That's right.
Hey.
So
The false Bob.
For him, dubious clap.
Oh, gosh. Now who's second up?
Oh my god, I just love it when you clap. That just is all kinds of
it's
wrong.
just those meaty sausage fingers. It's just the way it.
You're just so mean.
I don't say I don't love them. They're amazing sausage fingers.
I can't say anything else because it's just so wrong.
What?
Oh, Jazz.
Being married and in love is being able to say the worst possible things to somebody and hoping that they'll one day leave you. I may
You're
not
so
have
awful.
relationships right.
I don't think you do. Yeah.
So if your significant other dresses up really nice, it's like, aw, you look like shit.
Oh, you're right. Those jeans do make your butt look flat.
Did you say flat or fat?
What? I don't know. Whichever's more insulting.
I would take fat as a compliment.
That's the thing.
I mean, yeah, that's more of a compliment today now.
These
more
days,
than
yeah,
ever.
like 20 years ago, did these jeans make my butt look big? These days, the answer is, damn!
Hell yeah.
That's right. Back then, it was. I can't answer this, but it does look like two hams wrestling over an apple. I don't know. So,
I mean, I like both ham and apple, so I'll dive in.
Yeah, I mean, there's worse things. All right, so moving on, we have the results of the Drama Llama. If you guys remember last week, we had Smiling Sorcerer create a few different llama caricatures for us. I can only say what would be a landslide with 28.6%. The Crying Llama coming out on top, followed with 14% by the Smiling Llama. And
Top is always better.
And with a single vote, Crying Side Llama. I don't even remember which one that was, but apparently that'll be that. I have to say that I figured the Crying Llama would be it because that was my favorite too. But we wanted to get
everyone was just sad
because it is so completely accurate.
Mm-hmm. So now the next step will probably be hiring our resident guy, Sibh'Bae, that volunteered for it, to come up with something a little bit, and we'll get those printed out, and we'll tell you how you can donate to the Patreon and have them sent out to you. So
yay!
And we'll just go from there, and depending on how many people like it or want it, and how well it turns out, we'll continue to do it as long as people want the stuff. We're not gonna sit here and hawk. I mean, I've seen some channels that are just like, yeah, we've got just like a shit ton of stuff that they always have
our stuff.
Yeah, that's. I mean, given we're a little bit, smaller. So say, I mean, we got very loyal people. But those loyal people should spread the word a little bit. Like, tell your guild. If you're listening, be like, hey, listen to. And
the listeners rejoiced.
Ask yourself, what would Navi do? Hey!
Oh, man.
Listen!
Spray that thing with freaking Raid.
Right, yeah, I know. It's fairy lives don't matter, is that right?
That's right.
That's right. So, yeah, well, congratulations to the Crying Llama. You will be immortalized in vinyl. I don't really know, beyond that, so... So, all right, well, let's go ahead and do what we've been doing in Roleplay the last week. I know for me, it's been a little slim picking. We had a lot of things to do this week, which we'll talk about. It's why we actually don't have our call screener Rahanar tonight. They are without both computer and internet. Yunfei is on the phone, which means she's moderating the chat right now. Hi, Yunfei.
Hi, Yunfei.
And she's doing that from a total of about 10 miles away.
Yay!
From where we live. They
new neighbors
recently moved here this week I'm in Broken Arrow, but they're in Tulsa, which is good. But, yep, it was a lot of fun. We actually got to meet real internet people, and it turns out they are exactly creepy as you would expect it to be. Yeah.
They are not.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that Ben guy.
I got hugs, so I was happy.
Yeah, I got a hug, too. It was really cool to meet them. They're actually...
yeah, but you didn't get a hug from Rahanar.
No,
and
he's a creepy 6-foot dude. I mean... I don't go in for that. I don't go into that kind of stuff, man. What is this, 1980? Jeez. I don't know what that. He's also not a hugger, unless you're a chick. It was a little disturbing when he was starting to feel you up or something, and he called you hun. I mean, wow.
Whatever. He did not. He was a total sweetheart.
Yeah, they were actually very sweet. But no, we'll probably talk about a little bit more about that next week. Hopefully, when say a prayer and cross your fingers, all their stuff comes in and everything goes right with the internet and the computers. Because way to go, UPS. That's what they get for sending it not through the Federal Postal Service. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, government gonna get you. So with that, I guess we should see what we've been doing in Roleplay. We'll just go ahead and go down here in... oh, look, Meat Boy. I got distracted. I'm so easily distracted tonight. It's just going to be a fun episode, folks. We're really going to just have just take it easy. Jazz.
Mm-hmm.
You looking like
Sounds so angry.
I just going to say how nice you looked tonight, and that if you were doing something different with your hair. But if you're going to be a bitch about it, you get to go first now.
Oh, Jiminy. Okay, so this is a really good thing for me because I have had nothing but derp for the past 3 weeks. Last week was more derp to top. Last week's derp, it was leading up to a really big derp where we had a parting of opinion with some of our members and we went our separate ways. So I think when that happens, it's usually best, but it was very stressful while it was debated out. So that's kind of what took up most of my week, was that and the aftermath of that. But I did get
fun for everyone.
Yeah, the guild leader thing can be really hard to deal with sometimes because I want to come in and role play, and I have to come in and handle drama. And there was probably 5 or 6 different things. The big one, of course, was the one that's been ongoing for a little while. But that's over now, obviously, because they went to their own thing, and that's fine. And I think we ended on a pretty positive note in that sense. They went their way, and we continue with ours, and everybody's happy. So,
yeah, that's one thing. When you go into somebody else's guild, and it's just already established, it's not going to change on your behalf. I mean, you can make suggestions and things like that, but there has to be a reasonable expectation that the people that are already there and already established and know each other, and obviously that's how they joke around or this or that. You can't just be like, well, now the way you guys do things is not how I would do it, and it offends me, so it needs to be changed.
You have to assume they have respect for what they're getting into, bro.
Yeah.
And the thing is that, in the what now, 15 years that I've been doing this, there's at least one situation a year like this that I have run a guild. This has happened in every guild, in every game. Mm-hmm. It's not the people that helped me start the guild. That would be different. If the people that helped me start the guild were like, maybe we should do things this way. And I have in the past when officers that have been there with me from the start have said, maybe we should try this.
And sometimes you have to do it just to mix things up,
yes.
Like bring in new blood, things like that.
But when it's somebody that's from outside the guild that was not here in the beginning and they just kind of mosey in and are like, we don't like this change.
And especially when everything's actually running smoothly until they show up.
Right. So that's always hard because it's not that they're wrong per se, it's just wrong for us. This is not how we do things. This is not how we think it's going to work. This is how we've set up the guild to run. If you don't like that, and I say it right in the front page when you very first start the guild, it says, this is my guild. If you need reminding, I'll be happy to do that. If you don't like how it's working, go somewhere else and make your own. I'm not going to get mad about it. I'm not going to get upset. But you need to understand that I hate change.
Strafay.
The irony.
All right, Strafay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I hate change. And I set things up to go a certain way, and I like things to go a certain way. And you'd better have a pretty good reason for challenging me and be able to back it up, or it's not going to end well.
Because
and I don't deny that.
That's because you're wrong. That's why.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, Jazz. I'm kidding.
Yeah. Dying guild.
Yeah. So in the end, I think it ended up the best possible way. I don't think that there'll be much hard feelings in the end. I think people just, it's a different style, a different way of doing things. And in the end, you just need to agree that it's not working, go your separate ways. And that's what it was. But that's what I did all week, except for Friday. We had Telvanni RP, which is kind of what started all the derp. But we all got together and we had a big meeting, and
funny
went
enough,
well.
It was more fun without them there.
That was Thursday night. That was our guild night. And our guild night, see, one of the things that happens particularly a lot, I've noticed, when it comes to people who want to RP, PG, people who want G-rated, and people who like R and NC-17. Now, while I'm not an ERP freak, at all, I still like things very dark, and I like conflict, and I like naughty words, and I don't have a problem with them. So I'm not going to censor those things. And what happened is we got some people in the guild that didn't like that sort of thing, and so I started censoring myself, and other people started censoring themselves because we were trying to be thoughtful. And what it ended up was we kind of handed them control of the guild in a way. And then when I reached my line, said, nope, we're not doing that. They were like, well, why not? You did this before. And it's like, yeah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. It's a case of give an inch and take a mile.
Yeah, it is. And it eventually came down to that. Well, Thursday night, they weren't there, and we role-played, and it was so much fun because we didn't have to censor ourselves.
Yeah, you didn't have to walk on eggshells about your language or about, somebody casually, it is, as friends, as friends do in real life and in slap someone on the ass, like, quit being a jerk, or something like that, and they, how dare you? Yeah, so it was a lesson for me, a reminder, maybe better than a lesson, a reminder to me that because originally I started saying, okay, we'll try not to do that, and I shouldn't have done that. I should have said, this is an 18-plus guild. This is the way we are. If it bothers you, don't talk to me about it. Just go play somewhere else if it bothers you that much, because we're not going to change. And I didn't do that. That's on me. And I had to. It starts small. It's the literal slippery slope. You start off with one little thing, like, oh, it's not that big a deal, because it's like I've said before, most people they don't want, we don't go out of our way to offend people. I mean, we do. On the podcast we kind of do. Well, yeah. For the majority of people like OOC, when we're actually role playing, I don't go out of my way to offend somebody, and I'd really try not to. I, however, will not allow myself to be censored at the same time. Right. Just because your sensibilities don't like it, well, that's fine. But what I think is funny, and separate. It was very, very interesting Thursday night because we didn't worry, all of us, and I got several tells from people going, actually, this is actually the way it used to be, and I'd missed it, and I didn't realize I'd missed it. Mm-hmm. So it was good because they get to go and do their thing, and we can go back to doing ours, and everybody will end up being happy, and maybe now and then we can role play with them again, and it'll be okay.
Could you imagine what they would have done had Trajan said what he said that night?
Oh, gosh. Yes, that would have been bad. Yeah,
it would have been an OC blow-up from an in-character
yes,
thing,
and it would, and so this is better. And then Friday was Telvanni night, and Telvanni night we had some intrigue, we had some dealing with some stuff, and it was a lot of fun. Even though it's a little low-key because we're missing about, a third of our population for the Telvanni RP. We'll find new people. I'm not worried about that. But it was a reminder. Role-play community. Huh?
It's a big role-play community.
It is. And we'll find other people to role-play the Telvanni stuff with. And I'm not worried about that.
Nah.
But it was kind of interesting, too, because everybody agreed that we don't want to say they never happened. We don't want to say that they don't exist or that they're dead or that they were fired. We just said they're elsewhere because in the Telvanni, you don't have to be in the guild to be in the Telvanni, first of all. We had that rule from the get-go.
Well, there's a lot of other Telvanni guilds. It'd be kind of impossible. Right. Yeah.
So it's if somebody wants to go hide in their tower, which is very Telvanni, by the way, and not come to meetings anymore, that's perfectly fine. So we're just saying that they're off doing their own thing, and they're not there anymore. And if they ever decide they want to come back, even if they don't want to be in the guild, they certainly can. So it leaves it open. And I think that was a very positive thing that came of this, was that we all agreed that we liked their role play. We didn't have a problem with that. It was all the OOC stuff.
It was the mixing. They were mixers.
Yeah.
They were kitchenware.
So this was another positive thing that came out of the role play by the end of the night, is that it was nice to know that nobody's like, we were like, well, if they come back and want to RP with us sometime, or if we bump into somebody that fits their particular Telvanni, one of the masters is just like alchemy, and he's a master of alchemy. If we bump into somebody that needs him, we'll throw him in Draven's direction, and it all works out really well. And I think that that's important because it keeps the roleplay community intact, and even though it stings and it sucks, mm-hmm. It's still okay because it'll heal and maybe it'll be better than it was before. So that was my role play for the week,
or lack thereof.
What
about you, Sibby?
Oh, let's see. My main source of RP was with Sibh'Bae this week, and we're just evolving the story between Voli and Trithalis. And I was busy helping Unife and Rahanar with the move and stuff 2 of the days, and then the third day I was just beat. I was so tired, so I didn't really do a lot of role playing except with Trithalis, and that's about my role play. I mean, I've had a lot of fun with the evolving of the story.
Yeah, same with me. It was 2 days of helping and then a day of recovery because it was a lot of walking. But yeah, and it was. Don't get me wrong. I know they're listening. It's totally worth it. I'm glad to.
Yes.
We're glad to help, and I would do it.
Yes.
Do it again. But it just cut into stuff I was that net when I wasn't doing it. I was playing Dragon Quest 11. So there's that.
There's that too.
There's that.
Mention that.
Yeah.
But nope, that's about all of mine. I didn't get to write anything out. I've been super busy, so
yeah.
I know I feel bad and guilty, but
yeah, you should. So
I have those weeks.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody wrote anything out for roleplay today.
I think it was just one. I've noticed that it's kind of like when you're at grocery stores and when you get there, you notice there's nobody. There's like 1,000 people not in line. Like all the guys are just waiting to check people out. But when you're done, it's like 4 people deep. It just happens all at once. So it always seems like it goes that way too. For me, I basically only did 2 things this week. It was the boot camp stuff that we always do, ordinator training every Monday. Somebody Malel, a new Yalif, they wanted to do something with hand signals and things like that. Just some.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, something fun, and I helped them out.
That
with
reminded me of the chicken dance.
Yeah, it was a little funny watching people sleuth across the grounds in game from one side to the other, and I helped him out with that. Just with like Tarvala was making a wall of fire. Basically, she just became a dungeon trap of 5 seconds up, 2 seconds down for them to have to travel through, and then on their way back, she was just pretended to be a guardsman walking back and forth, so that they had to use their hand signals and RP to wait for her back to turn and like go with hand gestures. It was actually a lot of fun. It's just one of those things. And then Tuesday I was playing Dragon Quest 11. Could have role played, but I'm totally into this game, so there's that. Wednesday, after we helped Yunfei and Rahanar, picked them up from the airport, and we went out for steak, which was delicious. I did a mastery for I'm forgetting. I remember his original name, but I don't remember his. I keep forgetting.
I think it's Galvin.
Galvin, I think. Yeah. Somebody they rolled a character and they didn't like the way it was coming along, so they're re-rolling a new one. And since they've already gone through all this stuff, they're skipping the easy parts and going straight to the mastery. So I had come up with a small story, the first part of a mastery quest for them, where they supposed to go down and check out a nest of vampires that was also happened to be near an Argonian village. And, we don't want Argonian vampires, so they were to make sure that the village hadn't been compromised. Well,
Baloney.
Well, because you don't want to have to fight them. You'd rather kill them while they're not superpowered. That's the thing, Kishmish. You got to remember that. You don't want to kill superpowered Argonians. You want to kill them when you could still make them property. Isn't that right?
Rite of passage.
Yeah. But so he got down there, and it turns out it was a trap. Trap! They had actually started the rumors themselves, and they were trying to lure ordinators over there for something else going on in ESO with a big thing that's multiple guilds, and it's that whole storyline we've mentioned before. But so I just used that as an offshoot that this was an insurgent training camp, and they were trying to get hold of ordinators for some reason. Of course, it backfired because there was a lot more ordinators than they thought, and didn't go as well for them. However, the leader did get away, and they did have some losses, and it was a lot of fun. I always like to throw curveballs at people that, like I said, everybody always, when a storyline comes around, I think a lot of role players get stuck in the rut of, well, this is what they said was going to happen, so this is it. So I always like, you think you're going in there for vampires. Nope. ISIS Argonians. That's what you get. That's what they got. But that was a lot. It was a lot of fun. It went a good 2 hours for just the two of us. So it was good. But other than that, then after that, it was just playing chauffeur to the stars, and then just chilling out and relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. So that was my role play.
And Unife in the chat says we're still recovering.
Yeah, I bet they are. Yeah, poor Ben. He's he's got some health issues. So traveling across the state and then walking around everywhere, it was hard on me. And I'm a strong, semi-muscular man. I know it was rough on him. And poor Unife. Uni, you need to get new shoes for the love of all that is holy and just. Toes, you're not a geisha. Your toes should not bend like that. Just saying. Just calling you out on the air. We love you guys. We appreciate everything you do for the show as well.
Mm-hmm.
So what about Sibh'Bae? Sibh'Bae. What have you been doing in role play this week?
Well, I could try to pull it out of my backside again, but since it's kind of informal, I'll just go with the flow.
Yeah.
Kizdian rolled into boot. They did the hand signal training, which was fun. He's still sweating his face off because
water fat
in prison, golden mask, and doing push-ups. The fun stuff.
Water fat.
They made it through the little training scenario that Tarval set up. It's still weird for him to see Tarval in silver because it's almost a betrayal, but it's almost not. It's like, oh, she ranked up. Now she can't hang out with us anymore.
No.
We got this new guy. And this guy's already kind of a.
She can. The player just hasn't been around to do it.
Right, but the new Yala is of questionable trust anyway.
Oh yeah, they've had issues
when he came
in the
around.
past.
Yeah, he's a bit of a blue falcon, but that's neither here nor there.
Boo, those are the worst.
Yeah, for real. When after boot, when they were changing, Zaz was like, "Hey, let's go get some food," and he goes, "I'll only get food with you if you don't wear that stupid loincloth." He's like, "What?" It's like, you're like just dragging your balls everywhere, and it's not giving you any points.
Sorry.
Well, anyway, they were sitting there chatting, and he was leaned, and Kizdian purposely did this to see what he could get away with this new Yalav. He purposely leaned up against the bunk bed and was like flipping his coin, an old bandit habit. And in comes the new Yalav, saying, "Initiate Kizdian, we got to talk to you about your sweat," blah, 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 whatever it was. He went, "Yes, yes, the new Yalav. Oh, you. How charming for you. What did you need to know?" "Oh, why are you sweating so bad?" "Oh, well, you see, when one travels to Skyrim, you get used to the cold. And then when you come back, you tend to sweat buckets. I don't know what else I can tell you, sir." Malel just looked at him like he was insane and thought he talked weird, and then stormed off. And then Kizzy just grinned.
You got sweaty balls, man. It happens.
Well, maybe there is some Zaz's little loincloth thing.
Yeah, he's hot. He got to get cool off.
Powder works wonders.
Yeah.
I need to get some talc and X in my life.
That's right. A little bit of that's what Tarvala. I'm telling you, every time before she puts that Under Armour on, she's got to put some Gold Bond medicated powder under the girls. It gets hot. Yeah.
So suffice to say, the new Yalav shook his head in confusion and angst and walked away, which gave Kizdian a small little victory. And he looked over at Zaz and he said, "See, Zaz? This is how you get one over on your superiors." Then they went and ate, and they carried on. So it was a fun night on Kizdian, all in all.
Yeah, I pretty much know when I go there that it's just going to be with Zaz. It's just going to be Zaz and Kizdian, unless some of the people that we know are there. So, but it was a lot of fun. I enjoy going on Monday nights and hanging out with people.
Yeah, I know. With this big, I know things have been really wonky with this big roleplay thing going on, because it seems like if it's not something they're already doing, there's that in the background constantly, always meetings and this stuff. And I noticed it's a big community thing, but it seems like it slowed down RP for the individual guilds involved in it at the same time.
Yeah.
Because it's only a select group of people that are really, I mean, the people who
Really
are in
invested in
charge
it.
are the ones that are actually
Yeah.
involved.
Well, I know
Everyone
there's
else is just,
I know there's something. There's supposed to be a riot that goes on tonight, which we're all gonna miss. But at least I will, because I don't play the game while the show's going on, unlike some people.
I'm fishing. We may be.
As for, I was fishing as well, but now I'm just standing in place talking to y'all. As for Thursday night, Guild night went well. Y'all were busy moving our 2 call screeners and the unsung heroes of the show. So I got on Trajan, and I was like, you know what? I hadn't been on Trajan in a while, so I got up there and had started pulling a good one. And so Joris challenged him to a drinking contest. It's like, oh, you can't drink anything, Imperial Boy. And Trajan's like, let me tell you, Nord Boy, I can drink you under the table any day. Put up or shut up. So they went up to the bar. 2 bottles later, he was sloshed and probably had alcohol poisoning. At some point, he looked over, and Carrie has been on the has been back in the guild. She's a new officer, and that's Farah's sister. So when Trath saw her earlier, he had to depart because he's always nervous around here. She's always kind of jacking with Trath, and Trath's always feeling really nervous that he may have caused her sister's death by her coming back and her drowning in the bay. So Trath got out of there. But anyway, Trajan looked at him and he's like, "Oh, whoa, Farah's sister, what a babe!" Earned him a slap in the face by his wife. But he's like, "Hey, man, it was worth it." Anyway, after the drinking duel was done, they both came stumbling to the campfire. People started heading out. He made a choice comment about Farah's sister being so hot he could make a dead man stand at attention. If you know what I'm saying. Something he could not get away with with the old school little SJWs hanging out with us.
Swing.
But Kia took him home. He barfed in the Typhon's bushes on the way out, so he regained 50% sobriety. I'm sure she tortured him the rest of the way when he got home, but that was Trajan.
Yeah, she woke him up with the baby. She waited for a couple hours, and then she dropped the baby on the bed and said, "I'm clean, and here you go." And
then she rattled every pot and pan in the house, cooked like a dozen eggs, bacon, ham, and he was just green.
Because she's a witch. It's
and
good
begging
times.
for death whilst taking care of a screaming demon child.
All babies.
As for Trath, as Voli said, or as Sib said, him and Voli went out fishing, and they had a good time. At some point, Trath said, "Why don't we go get some dinner at your place?" That sounds like a grand idea. They got there, and he had to, of course, beg forgiveness from her cook because he's been not so gentlemanly lately around her. So he did all that. After a bit of distraction, they had their steak dinner. And from there, Trath's just been busy doing stuff. Met with Voli last night. They had a small little chat. She's not feeling well, so he was now, as far as I know, catering to her, and it's been pretty fun. I mean, it was kind of a light week, but between those 3 characters, I felt like I got a full plate.
Yeah. All right. And rounding up the what you've been doing, Kishmis. What have you been doing?
Very little.
All right. Well, moving on. No.
Live.
Be nice. Let him talk.
A lot of it's been really just family-oriented stuff this week. I really wasn't up for much more.
Yeah.
I changed titles again because as a hand, I couldn't get the RP that I wanted or RP that I need to, sate my hunger.
Yeah.
So I changed back to not really High Ordinator. It's called Seneschal, which is basically the wise man. He's like, you should do this.
Yeah, I saw
my corner.
I saw them. They were talking about like the titles and stuff. My suggestion was Dickmaster 69, but I was outvoted.
They're no fun.
I would have voted for that.
Well, I know, but they didn't even. They're like, no, they're like, you're not taking it seriously. I'm like, no, seriously, he would totally go. Kish, he'd be Roger, Dickmaster 69.
Maybe if you put like Mammoth in there somewhere.
Yeah, it gets a little wordy after a while. I mean, we just go around calling him Master Dick.
I was thinking like Staff Sergeant, Super Sergeant person.
I'm sorry, I don't have a cricket drop.
You guys are so bad.
I know. I love having Kishmas here. I'm glad you could make it. So you've just been doing stuff with Neth?
Yeah, mostly, yeah.
Just baby role play. Ugh.
Yes.
Oof.
Just for jazz.
So on that then, we were out eating, all right, at a Mexican restaurant. I love it. They have amazing street tacos, delicious. And there was somebody behind me was doing that thing, that nervous leg twitch thing, and the bench connected to mine.
Oh God!
And I wanted to turn
that,
over
man.
and slap him, but apparently it was like a young 20-something-year-old woman in baseball. But they had a baby too, and I'd said to Sib, I was like, "Can I just reach back there and just grab the kid and just start beating her over the head and shoulders with her own baby? Is that something that's allowed?" And then I realized when we were leaving that they had two of them, and I was like, "Oh my God, I could have dual wielded babies." Like had one in each arm by the leg and just like, you know.
Baby
No, you're
chucks.
wrong, right?
What?
Boomerang.
They are made of God rubber. Those babies would have probably been fine.
So you had baby chucks.
I had baby chucks.
Awesome.
Yeah, you just tie a couple pieces of napkin to them, and you just like that, you know.
I know. This is my world. Welcome
She
to my
was
world.
laughing, which makes her an accomplice
Busted.
to baby chucks. I'm just saying, don't tap your foot when you're at a bench that's connected to the back of someone else's bench. It's rude. You are ruining my street tacos.
You're a bench.
My delicious, delicious street tacos.
You're a bench.
Anyway, so
Well played, Sibs.
yeah, I heard her. I'm just ignoring it. She's going back to Wizard 101. That's how the kids in Wizard 101 say bitch because of the language filters. They call everybody benches.
Benches, really?
What about Club Penguin?
I bet you benches was probably used in Club Penguin too.
That's hilarious.
Which the 39 seconds was
You mother fudging bench.
If I remember from account creation to banning, 39 seconds is the record for being banned from Club Penguin. Not held by me, but I did read on that. All right, so before we go into our main topic and our sponsor, it wasn't exactly an email, but it was, because it was in long email form. We got something from a listener, Leastwise. I told them we'd actually just answer it on the show for the most part. I think someone still did, but they had wrote up something based on our last episode, which was all the morality and racism and how all that horrible stuff that you could listen to last episode on. So I wanted to read what they have to say, and we can go over some of the points and questions that they had, because they were good points, and some of them have actual answers to them. So from Leastwise, I listened to the latest podcast about morality, especially the segment around racism, and had a few thoughts on it. I apologize if this isn't the right channel or if this Discord isn't the right place to discuss this, which, I'll interject, it is fine. It seems to be taken as a given that racism is historically accurate, quotations, to medieval time periods when this is actually hotly debated. There's evidence that racism is much younger to human society than previously thought, at least in the forms we think of it today. Reaching back to the classical era or Roman times, we have evidence that citizenship or social caste was more important than race, and there is evidence of dark-skinned Roman emperors. All of which is true, but none of us were really around for that, so it really isn't the way anybody around these days thinks of racism. That's, you know.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Romans weren't really racist at all. They screwed anybody. They didn't care. It had nothing to do
They also didn't have slaves as servants.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
They
did have slaves. Romans had a lot of slaves,
Yeah,
but it wasn't the same kind of slavery that we think
it was
of now.
it was defeated countries that you basically you now work for us for nothing.
And it was temporary. You earned your way out.
You could earn Roman citizenship. Yeah.
You could decide to be one forever if you wanted to.
Like you said, it was a social caste system, basically.
Yeah. It was a very different way of looking at it than it is now, and it doesn't matter, as you said, because that's not how people now think of
slavery, right?
Case in point,
slavery and things like that.
Case in point, Saul of Tarsus conquered Judea. Was a full-blown Jewish guy, but was a citizen of Rome.
Yeah.
When he got brought up in charges from locals, he said, "Hey, you got to charge me as a Roman citizen," and then they had to bring in the Roman officials and send him to Rome. So yeah, I mean, anybody could eventually achieve that citizenship.
Yeah. Yeah. So moving on.
How tell Vonnie of them.
Right. Moving forward in history, there's evidence that people were mostly divided along religious rather than racial lines, especially, and I will say that is actually very true. That's where the whole separation of church and state, which is not actually in our Constitution or amendments, that was a letter from Jefferson to, I forget the religious denomination, as Baptists or something like that. Originally, the original colonies could set up like this is the official religion of Connecticut or whatever, but the government wasn't allowed to establish a religion, like basically and turn us back into the Church of England and the Catholic Church and how it ran everything on the other side of the ocean, and he had sent that to these guys saying no, you can practice whatever you want. I mean, people may not like it because people were more like, you're Baptist? Ugh, not my daughter. It was a very different time 200 years ago. Sometimes this lined up with what we would consider race, but for most of the people who lived under Christendom, what mattered was whether or not you were Christian, not what color you were, which is somewhat true. That was
amongst white,
right? It was
landowners, sure, and there were people of color that were landowners.
Yeah,
but it was very rare, and they were definitely treated worse because of the color of their skin.
Yeah, and I think it would almost have been on equal footing, like because they really were they really hated the different denominations back in 200 years ago.
Each other,
they
just
really
all the way across, yeah.
Nowadays, for the most part, until you get to radicalized versions, but the Baptists to the Presbyterians to the whatever, they don't.
And don't forget that whole war over Catholic versus Christians. So
right, yeah, there was that little thing.
That would be Protestant versus Catholics.
Protestant
versus Catholics.
Yeah, the Presbyterian wars went on for hundreds of years.
Yes.
Ultimately ending in they just almost don't exist anymore. Yeah, all those Presbyterians.
Just keep going. Nobody gets your joke.
I know.
We don't think it's worth commenting on. So please do continue.
Where was that cricket thing?
It was being talked over by you. One other assumption was that was returned to frequently. There's a fly on me. Sorry. Fucking hate that feeling. One other assumption that was returned to frequently was the view that racism isn't viewed as wrong in this world. I would question this a bit, at least with the context of ESO. In the fiction of the game, out-and-out racists are often portrayed as buffoons at best and evil at worst. For the Altmeri Dominion in particular, the main antagonist faction is the Veiled Heritants, is marked primarily by their racism towards the Dominion races. It was also struck by something one of the hosts said, where they were talking about a racist character who usually played the line between whether or not he was racism, the racism was a joke or whether he was serious. Now, if racism is no big deal or assumed within the game, why would this character need to hide it behind jokes? And that was my character, Kenix. And the reason you still have to hide it behind jokes is because just because it's accepted by your race, for example, Elon Musk, very smart guy, does a lot of really neat things. Probably a lot smarter than I am. However, if I bumped into him and he said, well, you're just a poor and you're an idiot, well, that might be true. I would still be pissed off and a little offended by it. And when you're trying to get the people around you to work with you, just showing how much disdain you may have for them or that you actually do believe, you may not even hate them. You just think, well, I mean, in a roundabout way, I'm still better than you. He knows that people don't take that too well.
Here's the thing about the Altmer.
Yeah.
Literally, they know they're superior. That's the problem. No one has set foot until on the old lore on freaking Somerset until ESO changed that with this expansion, until Tiber Septim rolls in with a Numidian and freaking invades. And then they finally say, okay, fine, we'll join the Empire, but just give us the right to not let anybody come in without our permission.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's an Altmer thing. And that's
it's a Dunmer or just as bad.
Thing.
Yeah, it's they're the two worst offenders. I mean, they don't see it as racism. It's just, I mean, it is.
They'll never see it as racism.
Right.
They'll never say you're right, I'm a racist, because to them it's like, of course not. I'm just better. That's not racist.
It's the same. It's the maxim, the Jism maxim philosophy of superiority. Yeah. Of the
what are you talking about? What's slander?
Of the ultimate race and all this and that. They just think they're better. It's not racism if you're just better than everybody else. It's just fact.
It's not racism. We just have better tech. We're looking out for you.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why he he hides it, because obviously if he was out, if he was just he needs the people because he's there for information and to keep an eye on things. And if all he did was insult, and he's smart enough to know that you can't do that. If you hide it behind a joke, he could still kind of let them know, but he also doesn't have he doesn't burn that bridge at the same time. That's that's just
exactly
that's why he does that. But and while racism is largely viewed as okay, it's usually only the race itself that views it as okay to be racist against all the other races. That's basically why that's like that. And finally, it occurs to me that there wasn't much discussion of in-character consequence or races or prejudice. That's true. It's one of those ones kind of overlooked. A distinguishing feature of a good flaw is that it gets you in trouble or weakens you in some way. A prejudiced character is liable to upset other characters, and in the world of casual violence carried to the logical extreme, causing that sort of offense would be life and death situation. And yet I don't see any role players of prejudiced characters who would accept consequences for their character's casual racism or prejudice, up to and including the character's death. It seems to be a manipulation of the unspoken rules of roleplay, that things like not killing each other without permission. In that one role player can roleplay a slave or a racist and expect to escape the consequences. That sort of character would face if they wandered into a place where that behavior wouldn't be tolerated. Which is why, and I get what you're saying, but the consequence. I mean, all roleplay has consequences. If Kenix, for example, did start saying, how he really, really felt deep down inside him about, of course there would be consequences. They would shut down on him. Jazz's character would probably just cut him off completely, and she'd be upset and offended and hurt because he's kind of a mentor to her. Strafe's character would probably just you're just being an ass and just cut all ties with him.
I'd like to clarify on that a little bit, actually, because Kia is very aware that Kenix is a racist.
Well, that's why I said. That's why I said Sia.
And if he came right, I thought you said Sia. Sorry. Yes. And actually, no. Again, I would say the same thing about Sia. Sia knows he's a racist. Well, if he was always just if literally like everything out of his mouth was just about that, after a while you're just like, okay, we get it. You know what? I'm done with you. She'd be like, you know what? You're gonna get killed. I'm gonna be over here.
Yeah.
Wrath at some point would just kind of chuckle and be like, I wonder where you learned this superiority. Oh wait.
Yeah.
You adopted it before you left.
Mm-hmm.
He would look at him like a wayward cousin and just wait for him to correct himself and come home. That's how Trath is.
Yeah.
But he would still smirk at it.
There would be consequences for just flipping like that.
But I also don't think that they're going to react the same way they would in real life. The consequences for racism might be a distancing, and he might lose. I mean, I don't think Sia considers him a friend, but she considers, she does, and she'll tell people that, but she considers him more a mentor because he's a dangerous little shit, and he taught her a lot of things that she knows. So she looks up, and same way, Caves is a racist as well. She knows that, but, they're
useful.
They're useful, and so she's like, well, if that's, gets me what I want, I'm okay with that. So I think in a world where there are so many racists, I don't think that we would have the same, kind of, oh, I can't never speak to you again. Because a lot of people wouldn't be like that.
It wouldn't be like the guy that on my mail route came up and was dropping all the, those effing blocking my mail. I was in shock. It took me back. Or Sib's little lady is, how those Mexicans are.
Yeah.
It's like,
but I would say, the way I understood his comments was that he was trying to understand why role players will not take the consequences.
But that's an overall problem within role players.
That's less
what I'm saying
racism.
Is, if you have good role players, they will take consequences.
Yes.
Not killing their character, but you do have the ones that are godmothers that once they do something like that, and they don't want the consequences.
Yeah.
No, there's a lot of people
like they should get away with it.
I don't like I had a guy tell me I don't like consequences. They're not any fun.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice, but that doesn't.
And it's actually not true. They actually kind of are. That's where the role play comes from.
Yeah.
I would say that there is a large majority of people who refuse consequences in the role play community. It's not uncommon. I wish it wasn't.
I think part of it comes from the fact that, because you can control it, nobody likes to be disliked. It's something I don't like. I don't like not being liked. I don't know that many people do. It happens, and
I've only seen a few people that have played characters, and Sibh'Bae is one of them, that is a true bad guy. And that, no matter what came, whether his character was liked or not, and the other one was
Tilder.
No, well, Tilder, but I didn't know Tilder that well. But the other one was, what was his name? Griffith, yeah.
Griffith.
In EQ2. He was a total asshole. I don't know. I didn't know him out of character at all, but I hated his character. Mm-hmm. But I've heard people say that he was a really nice guy.
He is. He plays in this game, too.
Yeah,
and
he
accepts consequences.
Yes, he always has.
Whether if your character hated him, he was fine with that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But there was, he had people that loved his character, but he was willing to accept those consequences.
Well, and being liked, but that's the thing, too. Taking consequences and being liked are two separate things. You can still be a good guy and do something wrong, and there's going to be consequences to it. Or if you say something out, you say you messed. I'm watching Star Trek Deep Space Nine right now, and I'm just watching an episode where Worf had made a bad decision and he ended up on trial. It's Worf, it's the fucking Worf. Of course he didn't do it on purpose or be bad, but there's still consequences to making mistakes, even as a good guy. It's just different than people that want to play just the bad guy. Because if you're playing a bad guy and you can't take consequences, then you're doubling down, really.
That's double derp right there.
Yeah.
I think we use the evil as an example because they're far more likely to have consequences.
Yes.
But I've known a lot of people who've done stupid things, and then they're like, "Well, I shouldn't be punished for this." We'll get on that when I tell them all my tales about derp. Yeah. I would say that the largest part of derp is refusing consequence.
That's a big chunk.
I agree.
But obviously you can still get in life and death situations. My characters have had fight after fight after fight. Now, understand that. No, I'm not going to let you kill my character off. However, he could still be beaten within an inch of his life, or vice versa. And that's perfectly fine. I have no problem with that.
But a large majority of people do.
Yeah,
they don't want to lose. Period.
Yeah,
I think that is a huge thing with people. They don't want to be the loser in everything. There has to be a loser.
Yeah, if there's conflict.
There's only one winner.
That's half the fun, is you don't know who's going to win or lose.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you also then have to, you have to go in with the mentality that could be you.
Mm-hmm.
Case in point, try to take out the guild leader's husband, supplant him, get caught, end up in chains for how many years, Jazz?
7 real life years.
7 real life years.
Yeah. So,
but hey, to me that was fun though. It was consequences.
Yeah. But you have to be willing to take those consequences. And I think a lot of role players don't want to or don't understand, that there will be consequences that you have to take.
My character will pick a fight in a bar. and I've had plenty of fights on CL where she's gotten her hind end handed to her. And I don't have a problem with that. And I don't understand why people do, because if she's going to mouth off, she may mouth off to the wrong person.
Yeah, and they might whoop her butt.
Yep.
You know, and she might still got lucky, or whatever,
Yeah.
That's what most watch YouTube videos. Most of the people that get knocked out in one hit just got a lucky punch. Like, no, you just got a glass jaw, son.
Well, it's also that, and this is something that I debated a lot with people because they don't like the rolling system, because they say it doesn't represent how awesome their character is because this person beat their ass and they're just this little guy.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody who's ever watched actual fights, like knife fights, fist fights, real things, not the choreographed crap you see on TV. I mean, real fights.
Right, a fight. Like MMA stuff.
Yeah, the best guy in the world can slip, can make a mistake, and the other guy who doesn't know shit gets in a lucky punch and you're out.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter how good you are. It's still going to happen.
I agree with that. And like last weekend when I did my event, my archery event, I told everybody, in character, you could be the best archer in the world, but you're going to have a bad day. And sure enough, somebody who never held the bow before actually pulled out the win.
Which, by the way, it got down to the last two people, and they did the roll of 3 dice, and it was supposed to be whoever the total score was, who would be the winner. Got down to the last 2, and they rolled twice. Both times the total score was the same exact number.
Yeah,
it went into
funny.
a third overtime round to find the winner. It made the end role play really you've got to be kidding me.
But it was fun. I agree with Jazz. Everybody has a bad day. You might slip, like she said. It happens, no matter how wonderful and powerful you are.
And the other thing, too, you got to remember, your character is super duper awesome, but guess what? You're not alone. There's other people that have really good characters, too, that also have, maybe they have opposing talents, and, that they could just be as equally skilled on different fronts as you are. So it balances out. So that's why you do the random thing, because it really can just go either way. Because most characters when they're fighting or going at each other, it's not the 10-year trained paladin going up against the farmer. It's typically those aren't the fights that you're going into. It's very rare that happens. So yeah, you got to take into account. Yeah, your character may be this, and this, but what are they?
And in Silver Circle, we had a guy that was new to the guild, was new to RP, got into an argument with Tilder. And Tilder was like, he took off all of his weapons, he took off all of his armor. And because the guy was like, "You just kill me, I'm not going to fight you." And he says, "Oh, let's make it a little more even. I'll only use one hand."
Yeah, there you go.
And so he was standing there in his nethers and one hand tied behind his back, literally, fighting this guy who was brand new. And the rolls went in this guy's favor, and he got one hit on Tilder and knocked him out cold.
There you go.
Yeah.
And Tilder laughed, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's going to be mad at me." And it's like, no, you don't understand. Tilder was like, "I earned it. I deserve that." He was such a cocky fucking shit.
Yeah. When you get that cocky, you might end up
might lose,
being humbled a little bit.
Yeah. So it's always important. It's why I like the roll system.
Good RP. That's how you've got good RP, when everybody, even the most awesome character is able to be beat.
And I have to tell this story really quick because it actually pertains to this directly, which is really funny. 2 of the people in our guild, and they're going to kill me if I use their names, so I probably shouldn't. But
definitely do it.
Yeah, Typhon and Dalatori got into a physical fight, magic to magic. Dalatori was like, "I'm going to teach you a lesson. You're no longer the master,"
When you left me, I was but the learner, but now I
Yes, he actually said
master.
that.
Yeah,
that's what he did.
I totally would have quoted that too.
Yeah. Dalatori does a lot of the Sith stuff kind of mixed in.
Because he thinks it's funny like I do.
Yeah, it really works for his character. It's really funny. Anyway, so they're having this fight and they're rolling, and every time that they're on the offense, in the sense, because that's how we roll, you do something and the other person can defend. So the rolls are right. So every time that Dalatory attacked, Typhon defeated him. Every time Typhon attacked, Dalatory defended him. So they really ended up not doing too much to each other until the end. And then Wolf rolled a 20 and should have won the round, but instead threw himself down on the ground and pretended that the hit him to end the fight.
Okay.
To give the guy, to let him win. Because he knew if he beat him, he'd never learn. So he let him win so that he could say, now do you understand? It's not going to make you feel any better to win.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it was a really good role play, and I was so proud of both of them. But it made that point that the roles went such a way that it made complete sense with who they were. These were two very powerful men who really couldn't hurt each other.
Well, and in a lot of ways, too, you can always overcome things like the roles with the emotes. You can still explain away a bad emote or a bad role with a good emote. You have to be creative. You know, you just have to let the other person, maybe they like you say, maybe they're, you know, they roll the 20, you roll a 19, so obviously they're going to hit, but they were just a little bit faster, or they outthought you just a little bit here or there. You know, it doesn't have to be the, you know, your spell fizzles and you just get obliterated. You don't have to do that stuff. You can make your combat and you can make interactions engaging and interesting. It's perfectly okay. It's something I've been trying to help people with lately, because I think some people have been shell-shocked into not popping their head up. So, but yeah, hopefully, Leastwise, that explains a little bit of some of the stuff you had, and we do appreciate the fact that you actually spent enough, you know, listened enough and cared enough to write that out. And for anybody else that has questions and things like that, we've actually.
I would like to say William.
I was going to bring him up. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No,
I'll let you do it.
Go ahead.
No, we had William, and I don't know how to say his last name. Huin?
Sure, why not?
But he sent in a question about doing events, which we all three, Jazz, Ashen, and me, all three jumped in and tried to offer advice. And I don't know where the whole thing was.
It just scrolled up a little bit. But yeah, he was doing basically he called it spoopy, which is one of those fake internet words. I'm going with it. Spoopy stories by the campfire in the game. What was that game again? Villagers and Heroes, which is not one I've actually heard of. I'm planning on actually looking into it. Apparently, it's an indie MMO. I thought it kind of looked WoW-ish, but I was like, that doesn't look like WoW characters. But yeah, it's called Villagers and Heroes. It looks like he had a pretty good turnout from some of the pictures he sent us. But
yeah, he said, "Thank you so much, Jazzy B, for your wise advice. It helps a lot. So happy to have stumbled onto this podcast of yours. It's nice to be able to have those kinds of advice from veteran role players."
Mm-hmm.
Aww.
Yeah, and his questions were things like, I understand. Before he was asking, you know, like how to he was worried about. No one shows up. Too many show up. Trolls show up. More than likely, it was 2 of the 3. Trolls being the absolute. That would probably definitely happen.
I found his.
Yeah,
his
I have it here.
Oh, okay.
He had said he had some questions after the fact with a picture that actually looked pretty good.
Oh, I found the original one.
Oh, I was just gonna go with the after the fact here.
Okay.
After he did it, he said, "Yeah, I understand now the slow typer issue. What can you do while people wait for the next part of the story? And 2, I would like to do 1 event like that per week. Should I keep doing the same event each week? Rotate 4 event types each month. Week 1 spoopy stories, week 2 poetry night, blah blah blah. Should I keep the same time frame Friday night, and should I try to change it up a bit like a Saturday night?" And don't apologize for asking questions. Jazz had responded, and I'm just going to summarize and answer them because it's basically the same thing. Slow typer issue. If they're making the story up as they go, there's nothing you can do about it. However, if they know they're coming, they can write it out in advance and then just copy and paste different, what paragraph or a couple sentences at a time, depending on the game. Mm-hmm. That helps a lot with the slow typer thing.
My goodness, does it ever?
Yeah, if people know that they're going to be there, especially if you start to make it a regular thing, like Straffe has with his poetry night.
And that's what originally started the whole thing was William was curious about the poetry night.
Yeah. Yeah, he was asking about how to do that. So he went with spooky stories. Or spoopy, which is like silly spooky stories. But, so yeah, having people type it out in advance. And two, if you're going to do an event like that per week, I think just like Jazz said, pick a day and pick a time. And then stick with that. Just like we do with our show, it's Saturday, 7 Central Time. I know when we first started it, it kind of bounced around because we were some Saturday to Sunday, and the time would change every now and then, and it made it really hard. It makes it hard for listeners, or in this case, the role players that want to come to the event to know when it is. But if you start to do it on a consistent basis every week, they'll know. Like people know Kitty that listens to the show and streams as well. Her Telvani Tea House is 8 or 9 Eastern Time every Sunday. We know it's going to be there. So what you actually do in the event, you can rotate them out. Like if you do stories one week, a poetry night, something else, just make sure you announce which one it is in advance so that if you have the slow typers, maybe they can get their stories done ahead of time. But yeah,
that's what I do. Whenever we do poetry night on Tuesday nights, I always make sure I have what I'm going to do copy and pasted into Google Docs, because Google Docs for me is
the bestest.
Like my lifeline. Yeah. And I just copy it, like however many lines will fit into the chat bar, and just enter it that way. It works really easy. And I know EQ2, you can do it that way. Most games will allow you to do it that way. I don't think I've ran into one that won't, that I can think of right offhand. But it's very easy. I mean, I would push for that.
Mm-hmm. And, and one last thing, too. Like they learned at the Strafface Poetry Night, try to tell them to keep it to 10 minutes and under. For the most part, any story that goes over 10 minutes, you start to lose people. They start to wander. Yeah. I
literally, Caves recommended that. So as an Easter egg, every time I do the intro to the Poetry Hour now, I say, and there's a Lord Caves addendum. Please keep your stuff under 10 minutes so other
10 minutes.
people can recite.
Yeah. And that way you get more people to interact in your event, because if you don't keep it to a minimum, you get like 1 or 2 people that get to go, and then everyone else is like, oh, but I had something. So you want to give everybody the opportunity to try to participate.
Right. Yeah. You don't want to cut people out for time. You don't want to be the Oscars where someone's in the middle of their speech and they're playing them off the stage.
Yeah, for real.
Bring up the music.
Get the hook.
That's right. All right. Well, again, guys, William, Leastwise, appreciate you guys asking questions. Again, if anybody out there has questions or things like that, we're more than happy to help.
And you can send them via email.
You can send them over at rpmmoradio@gmail.com, or you could send them to us privately on Discord over at rpmmoradio.com/discord. You could, if you want to do them out in the open, that's perfectly fine too. If you have a private question, you can send it to one of us or email it to us. And that's, that's the whole reason we're here, is we're here to help. All we ask in return is that you let all your guild people know to listen to the show, because you're mentioned on it.
And I will say, I might not, I don't know about everybody else, but I might not get back to you that day, but I try to check it at least once a day to make sure, I don't miss anything. So I try.
Yeah, we'll get back to you within usually it's about a day. I'm almost always on Discord. I typically don't do anything during the day when I'm working, because I don't get paid my job to do Discord stuff. And also, it's like 90 degrees outside still, so I'd rather just get done. But once I'm done, I'll answer your questions.
Yeah.
So with that, we'll go ahead. And before we get to our main topic and just have some fun, let's go ahead and do a word from our sponsor, which is an exciting and brand new series. This winter, join the adventure as a trio of heroes and villains, depending on their mood, strikes out on an epic journey to the same tavern they go to every week. Meet Dr. Cornelius Acula, a high elf, and the original vampire of 4,000 years, whose only master is himself, after he went back in time and turned himself into a vampire. He's a savage, baby-killing monster, but gets easily offended by sexual talk of any kind around him. Then, there's the terror that stalks in the night. The single greatest assassin in the world, his real name and origin lost to history, and is only known by his alias, Trevor. A killer of such skill, he can sense anyone at all times around him, never be snuck up on, and has a dagger coated with 47 different poisons made from the purest of demon-killing silver. And lastly, their female dark elf companion, Jasaria. A sly information broker that can seduce even the stoutest of men's hearts with honeyed words, a keen intellect, and twin fleshy watermelons contained within her bustier that could stop a water leak on a submarine at a depth of 2,000 feet. Follow them as they brag about who is the strongest, who has the most wealth, and has killed the most people. All while still trying to prove who has been kidnapped the most, is the most humble, and has saved the most people. This December, head to your local theaters for The Derp Chronicles. Coming to a screen, Derp Derp.
You are terrible, you know that.
I love it. I love every bit of it. Well done, sir.
I didn't see the rating on that. Could I get a rating?
It was rated D for Derp.
Okay.
They actually had to create a whole new rating system. Brought to
That was
you
freaking glorious.
Brought to you from the minds of Idiocracy. Oh, man. Yeah, that was fun to write. Yeah,
Got some of your stress out there?
Me? No. Why are you talking about? I mean, given I will say they are somewhat based on three people, I know.
Yeah.
You want to guess which ones are which? Anybody?
No.
Okay, I'm the middle one. Because I've got the assassin. Dr. Acula, that was Strafe. And the watermelon-chested information broker, that was you, Jazz.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
But I hate vampires.
Yeah, but that was the high elf mention.
Ah, yeah. Oh, yes, fair enough. Fair point.
And besides, you were like a baby-killing monster there. You weren't a vampire, though. We had to have the vampire in there. That was...
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
there always has to be that vampire.
There had to be a vampire. There had to be an assassin, and there had to be the busty chick that, does that. That's the stereotypes.
Seal hole at a submarine. Crush death. I love it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Push those babies up. Lift and separate. Am I right, girls?
You are wrong in so many ways.
But
so many ways.
And right in so many others. So, let's share the derp. We're just going to have fucking fun tonight. If you haven't already noticed, after that last episode, that was an exhausting thing for 3 hours. It was fun, and I actually did enjoy it, but it wasn't like, haha, fun. So, one of the greatest things that we have about roleplay is that we can always try new things. We try new characters, new concept, new ideas. The worst thing about roleplay is that you can try new characters, new concepts, and new ideas.
Very true.
It doesn't always work out how we expect, or worse, as we grow older and mature, we realize just how cringy our younger selves really are. If you're not there yet, give it 5 years. Kind of going back like all those years, people loved NSYNC. How much do you regret that doll? That poster hanging on your wall? Yeah? Anything? How about those MC?
No.
How about those MC Hammer pants you bought in the early '90s? Anybody?
No.
They were comfy.
They had lots of room in the crotch. I'm not.
Yeah.
I was okay with it.
What did you need all that room in the crotch for there, Caitlyn Jenner?
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot to tell you.
Dang.
Dude, look like a lady.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
Hey, man. I so
did say
proudly
I had
rock.
big, meaty hands.
Their fingers, not kielbasa's, Pam.
Hey, man, I still rock that Michael Jackson glove every once in a while.
That's right. That Thriller jacket never goes out of style.
Dude, that Thriller jacket's still hot.
That's right. So below are some of the derpiest things that we've done or seen in roleplay. If you want to, if you got something really derpy and it's really funny that either you've done or you've seen, give us a call over at rpmmmoradio.com/Discord. Jump in the host channel. Sib will probably jump up there real quick and make sure that you're a person and all your stuff is working.
I will jump right on that.
She will jump on it.
No. Why did you do that? No, I'm muting myself now.
But yeah, so yeah, we're just gonna have, you know, the older your character is, a lot of times you look back on it, you're like, man, it was so edgy and cool, and now you're like, God damn it, what was I thinking? I was so lame. So below, that's what we got here. So I guess I'll kick it off with at least one of mine. Probably one of the biggest failures I ever had was in Star Wars: The Old Republic. I thought it would be funny and fun to try to make a Tony Stark-like character, somebody, you know, with all his swagger and the back talk and insulting people. Turns out, without being an actual billionaire, that doesn't actually work out so well. People just find he's kind of an ass. Yeah, it didn't work out too well at all. You know, Star Wars definitely lends yourself to a character like that. They already have power armor and, you know, Mandalorian suits and things like that. But nah, it lasted about all of 2 days, and I was like, no, it doesn't come off as charming and funny like it does does with Robert Downey Jr. It's just bad. It's just really, really bad. I didn't even tell Jazz about it. And she was one of the interactions, and she's like, yeah, no, you don't. She just, like, walked away from him. And I was like, it's me, Jazz. I'm guessing this character didn't work out too well. It's like, no, it didn't.
I remember that now.
Yeah. You're like, it's a good try, but no.
My character will kill him.
Yeah. It's like, no, that doesn't work.
A whole bunch of nope.
That was a lot of nope. So one of the other ones, we've mentioned him before. I don't remember his name. The flashing red eye guy from EQ2 that would his right eye would flash, but it was just his way of saying how he inspected people. And was getting their information.
There was a thing back in the day. People get pissed if you inspected them in EQ1. I never got that.
Yeah, but that was thing, and like there was an information thing to. Like, read.
People still do, by the way. In this game, if you look at somebody, I've had my character, because Sildrini will do that. She'll study people, she'll watch them, look at them.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's so funny, because if Cial does it,
butthurt.
Nobody cares. But if Sildrini does it, they just get on her ass. There's like 3 different characters in the game right now that when they come in, Sildrini finds them interesting. They act oddly. I don't know if it's OOC or IC, because I've never talked to them OOC. It does feel a little OOC sometimes, but they're very snarky. So at this point, she stares at them just because it pisses them off, because that's Sully. And Sully's a little like Sia in that part, but she likes to piss people off, and she's big enough to defend herself if it comes around. But looking at someone, just studying them, shouldn't make you freak out and get in their face and go, what are you looking at? What are you looking at? I'll fight you. I will. Like 5 minutes after they look at you. Really? Really? You need to get a grip. Because that's not a normal reaction.
Yeah, and this was just, of course, this was the right click and inspect and read the bio thing is what he was doing.
Do that. Yeah.
But these days, if you just the like what she's, I've watched her in places where she just looks people up and down, and she's watching them. And they I think Kishmas, even, I mean, of course, you know Jazz, but Roger was like, you were there. No, it was you were there, but
it was Lilel.
She just got really angry. Kishmas just happened to be there on Roger, and he was like, that's what she does.
Yeah, she was just like, but there was this guy that like literally gets in my face every time I do it, and she just does it because it pisses him off.
Right.
At this point. And he sent me a tell, and he's like, that makes him mad. Why do you keep doing it? Because it makes him mad, and Sully's a bitch.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
And, like, yeah, it's creating roleplay, so.
I know, how horrible of me. So sorry.
Right. So, but
Kish
yeah,
so
that
love this.
That
we got 2 Argonians in the guest chat.
I tell you, damn Argonians.
I'll tell you what.
But yeah, so yeah, that guy was. We've told him the story about him, but yeah, his his way of every time he inspected somebody to read their bio, his red eye would flash. But he did it so often, it was an ongoing joke amongst everybody.
It was.
It was just so bad. So before we continue that, let's go ahead and go to our call liners where we have nobody there because he's muted himself. Cabalist, you gotta unmute yourself, you crazy son of a bitch. How's it going, Cabalist?
It's going all right, Ash. How you doing?
Doing all right. So you have the derp story.
I do. I can't exactly follow the live stream right now because I lost connection earlier, probably because of the hurricane. But there was a little adventure that Sibh'Bae and I had in Star Wars Galaxies back live. And this was back when I was a warrant officer, and he was the colonel, and he was the current guild leader before the ship sank. And we had some roleplay going on with a rebel, Sibh'Bae's ex-girlfriend back then, and somehow in the conversation, she agreed to a duel with myself. And of course, being the master bounty hunter and she was an entertainer, that wasn't much of a fight. And, it was all for roleplay, though. We played it out a little bit. And then as she was incapacitated, I got a silent message. It was a hand movement from Sibh'Bae, pretty much like to cut her throat. And then I pretty much took my lizard foot and curb stomped her. And she raged. She happened to be living with us in South Texas at the time, so she just straight to my room and demanded why I deathblowed her character. And I simply said, I was following orders.
Meanwhile, I'm in Dallas. Suddenly my phone explodes, and I was like, oh, God. The heat's coming down. That was total derp, and I was motivated by me being pissed off. She's hanging out with this dude she was cheating with me on, and so he had to do what must be done.
His name is Novel Talon, and I'll let you know when you quit playing Sibh'Bae that Chevy, Garrett, and Tarag, and a few other Master Bounty Hunters, we tracked him down, and we gang spanked him, and we had parties afterwards.
So, just for above the game, remember I told you guys a long time ago I was a bad player versus player guy?
Mm-hmm.
Those were those days.
I was going to say, this was when you were that transition and you were still a little bitter at role players, weren't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because instead of, she could have just been like, yeah, no, you didn't. But I love the fact that she knew you so that she could literally go in there and start slapping the shit out of you and then blow up your phone at the same time.
Yeah, she was pretty pissed, but at the same time,
cheating
things
whore.
happen.
So
when you crush somebody's heart and they're a PvPer, people gotta die,
Yeah, you're using the wrong tone. Your tone's all wrong. If you do it again, I'm gonna shoot you in the face with a blaster rifle.
Or in this case, an Argonian foot.
Right.
I mean, a Trandoshan foot. My bad.
Foot. Yeah. Man, get your stupid lizard people right.
I mean, they're just more evolved.
Hey,
Argonians, right?
Yeah. Hippity hoppity, Wookiees are Trandoshan property.
Oh!
That's right. Go Cap.
That's the end of my story.
Well, that was a good one. I like that. Well, I appreciate you calling in, Cabalist. And if you ever have any more dirt on Sibh'Bae, just feel free to email it on us on Sly.
Yeah, you can go. You can go back to sleep, Cab.
just send me a message in Discord. I'll get to it later. Don't worry, but it'll be anonymous.
Yeah, it works.
Just send all the baby pictures. He'll have no idea where it came from.
Oh no.
That's right. Well, appreciate you coming on, buddy. You have a good night.
All right, you too.
All right. So.
I love my little brother.
Yeah, he's good people. Man, talk about an apple that fell far from the tree.
Ow!
We have another caller. Are we ready for them?
Fuck that guy. So anyway, let's talk about me some more.
I don't think you're winning that one.
No, not against Ericus. There's no. He's clearly
Caves.
He's clearly the better person. This is Ericus, or if some of you guys have noticed, we call someone Caves. This is the same guy. So go to our call lines. Appreciate Ericus calling in RPMMORadio. How's it going, buddy?
This is great. Thank you for having me here. This is quite a treat. Listening to your episodes all this time is really had the courage to finally speak with you all here today.
Well, and you only speak with like 3 of the 5 of us all the time, so
that's what I told him
it
when
should
I
just
went.
be like a regular conversation to you at this point, man. Don't, whatever you do, don't focus on the fact that hundreds of people will probably hear this later.
No, don't do that.
Story.
No, I went into the call waiting room and I was like, it's like talking to you every day.
It really is.
All right,
So what have you got, Ericus? What kind of derp do you got for us?
Oh, this is quite the most interesting derp we actually all agreed upon there. It was during back years before I met you guys. It was during Star Wars The Old Republic. It was a very old guild. We decided to get together in our usual role-playing spot in a starship away from the other role players, kind of like try ourselves, see how crazy we can get with this. And pretty much it's known as, we call it opposite day. So it's pretty much we play the opposite of our personality for our characters, our character traits, our way we dress, pretty much not like complete opposite. Don't go beyond like changing, from boy to girl, or like don't go that extreme. We're just trying this out, but we had a lot more fun than we should have. It was just super derpy. It was wacky. We all had a good time there. It's like, hey, what's this? Come on in. We're like playing like different personalities. They're like opposite of our characters, and we had other people join in, and it was a hoot. It was a hoot.
That's actually not a bad just a writing role play exercise. Really, I mean that's actually kind of funny. That would be challenging, and you could really. It'd be really funny to see the ultra serious bounty hunter being like, "Hi everybody, oops, Misa fell." Kind of.
It would be kind of neat to see how everybody changes their character.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a different experience. Like, oh my goodness, this is what other people think I was being like.
Yes. Yeah. You don't want it to turn into marriage counseling, couples therapy, where you take on the other role and they're just like, "Hi, I'm Jessica, and I'm being a bitch all the time while drinking and popping Vicodin all day." And then she's like, "Hi, I'm the man, and I don't have time for feelings or my wife or to make her feel pretty anymore." Dang. Boy, that can get real ugly real quick.
That would be so bad.
I just assume that's how all couples therapies go when they roleplay the other person.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be...
So, yep, an opposite day kind of derp fest there. Any role-playing dates there, you're not sure what to do, ideas. Hey, give this, I know it's a bit of an out-character thing to go with, but, give it a shot, have some fun, and that's not that big bad, all derp, but, it could be your own derp.
Derp?
We might have to do that
That's true.
on our guild.
Well, I see.
Oh, God.
That would be hilarious.
That would be pretty funny.
Foley would be sweet and kind.
I think we'd all go into shock.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would be like, there need to be alcohol involved. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
A lot of
We'd
alcohol.
all have to have, every time that you slip back into character, you have to take a drink.
Oh, man.
Well, we know how well that works for Jazz.
Yeah, that would be bad. That would be very, very bad.
Yeah. I've already been thinking of what we're gonna do for next St. Patrick's Day. So don't worry about it. You'll be fine, Jess. I'm just gonna need your address. I'm gonna have to ship something to you.
You have my address.
Yeah, I lost it somewhere. I don't.
Oh.
You're talking to a guy that doesn't even remember his own mother's birthday every year.
Who works for the postal office.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, but you're in another zip code, and you're not a customer. And I'd be honest, I really don't like most of those people either.
Fair enough.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Well, was that the only derp story, Ericus? Just want to make sure I don't cut you off.
No worries. No, that's the pretty much the most profound, reasonable dirt we had. That didn't really get quite out of hand. Nobody was throwing a fit with each other like this. So no, it was all for fun. Just a suggestion, throw it out there for a great out character event there, and I think that's all.
Yeah, if you ever want to play some real derp, really all you have to do is play an Argonian. Was that what I've heard?
Oh.
What? What?
Shots fired.
You don't have to take that from him.
Come at me, bro. Come at me.
Trying to start something.
No. Argonians are great handbags.
Jeez.
It is funny because Vuli has said that once or twice to Caves.
Get away from me, handbag.
Yeah, and then she gets her butt whooped, of course.
Yeah.
He's so.
It's the way of the river, ever flowing, ever changing.
That's right.
The
That's
way
right.
of the river run dice. So.
Yeah, lost in a typhoon.
Philosopher of Typhoon.
I do enjoy that river
funny.
philosophy.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, appreciate you calling RPMMORadio, buddy. And if you, like I said, if you ever have something and you're listening, feel free to call in. You're always welcome here.
All right,
Yes.
I'll keep that in mind.
Later, honey.
All right.
Thank
You have
you
a good
very
night, man.
Bye.
Thanks again for
Bye,
calling.
Argus.
Up, cut him off. Bam. That's what you
Way
get
to
for
go.
being an Argonian, you filthy lizard.
You're so bad.
I am
He,
not.
he is one of my favorite people to RP with.
He
I will
really
say
is
that.
a nice guy. I like him.
I am still to this day so happy that we met in Tor because he has been one of the best role players I've ever interacted with ever.
He's a
He
pretty
is
solid
really-
dude.
No
He's a
insult.
really
No
solid
insult
dude.
to the other 4 people here. You know, none at all.
Thanks. No kidding.
Oh,
Wow.
stop it!
Mm-hmm.
He was just for someone that was so random that we just
Right.
met. Completely,
It's very rare.
Yeah, to just meet somebody that you click with so well, and
Mhm.
and
And then keep in contact, crossover in other games. In fact,
yeah, I mean, because we didn't know each other that long, and Tor. Oh, silly, we didn't talk at all until like probably 6 months before the game ended. We started talking because I knew I was leaving. The game didn't end, but it ended for me.
it
I
ended
was
for
leaving.
you. I get what you meant.
Yeah, the RP was just.
There's a guy out there playing Tor right now. Like what?
What?
You know, Ashen, we give her 10 years of our lives, roleplay, and all she remembers is the Argonian. Come on now.
Yeah, exactly. No, I
And
get
he
it.
followed me to EQ, to Guild Wars 2.
See, she's
I
still
mean,
doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Well-
you guys too, but that's how he got into my little circle was because he was so awesome with you guys.
He was. I know. I met him at EQ2, and I did not realize who he was till he came to ESO, and then we were talking one day, and I was like, "You were Ericus in the game?" Because I didn't know he was. I knew him by Caves, and then I was like, "Oh my gosh, I was so and so," and he's like, "Oh my gosh!" So it was really cool because in EQ2 we had RP'd, and it had a lot of fun. Just like I was an Airsi, and he would give my little Airsi cookies. So it was just really cool. I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh my gosh, that is so funny that I actually, met you there and loved your character there and didn't realize it was you until now."
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so the next one I had here, and this was, oh God, this was in EQ2, and it was so bad. Jazz, I think you were there, but I don't know if you would remember this guy or if you were around or if this was when I was in Vagabond Nights, but it was a random roleplay thing in a tavern somewhere, and it was a human character, and his backstory was that he was a human from Earth that had been
Yes,
magically
I was
teleported to
reading that.
Norath.
Yes, I remember that guy. I actually
Okay.
played with him as well. I just didn't. How can I say this nicely? I rolled my eyes and stopped talking to him.
Once the part where he emoted that something had happened, and he's like, "Oh, I remember the Twin Towers falling on 9/11," and everyone around him's like, "Dude, no."
Yeah.
No, because remember, this is back in like 06. It's still very, very fresh. I mean, it's been 17 years now, and it still gets me every year. But this was like 5 years out, and it's like, okay, yeah, no. For one, you're playing a human from Earth. That's just stupid enough it is. But are you really bringing out 9/11 and the towers and all that stuff?
Like, sorry, bro, this ain't Farscape.
Yeah, right. No. How about
This is-
no? No.
Yeah, just so much no.
No.
Extra no.
But yeah, it was like he disappeared fairly quickly. I mean, once he brought the 9/11 thing out, I think he, like Jazz, people were role playing with him. But once he did that and showed what his character was and pulled that out, it was an instantaneous like OOC reaction from everyone of no.
No.
And actually, I think he re-rolled his character into somebody that was actually good.
Well, and I hope so.
I have a vague recollection of RPing with him. He went to a different guild than us, but I roleplayed with him several times before he stopped playing the game. But he did learn from that experience, as I remember.
Good.
So.
No. If I had a rolled up newspaper, I'd have hit him with it. So one of the last ones I have on here is I don't remember. I'm terrible with names, but it was an ancient virgin vampire with no concept of how biological procreation worked. So it was really old vampire. He knew all the history and lore, but he'd be like, "Sex? What is this that you speak of? Is that where that thingy down below goes into the woman's hoo-ha?" It's like, really?
Sorry.
You're how old and you don't know how like basic bodily functions? You're retarded. You're mentally ill. You're slow vampire. I don't understand. I don't get what concept you're going with here.
I wish I could say that I remember him, but there were so many people
right,
playing that kind of nonsense that he blends in with all
and I'll be
others.
honest, I might actually be blending multiple vampire characters together, but that's how I remember it, and that's how I'm just going to say it. But if it wasn't that it was a combination of multiple characters, because I've seen plenty of people that have done I'm just a sweet innocent virgin, and being a virgin, I don't know how sex works. Yeah, there's diagrams actually. You can
books,
and we're in old time.
You can look at yourself.
Well, we're in old timey fantasy. Have you ever watched pigs for more than 4 seconds? Yeah, they'll kind of give you a good idea. Go to watch monkeys at the zoo. That's how most of us have learned. Is that just me?
Monkeys at the zoo throw their poop at you.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Quick monkey story. I was at the Tulsa Zoo, all right, and the alpha, it was not a monkey, it was a gorilla, but they have an outdoor enclosure, and it's surrounded by a moat and stuff like that, but you can actually see them outdoors, and the alpha gorilla was at the edge. He was just sitting there chilling, and we were all around staring at him, and he kept pointing to one dude and holding out his hand in the gimme gesture. And then he would put his hand to his mouth, and then he would point at him and gimme. And he shouldn't have done it, but he did. The guy realized he was pointing at the Mountain Dew bottle, and he put the cap on it, and he threw it at the gorilla, and it landed in the enclosure, and he went over there, he picked it up, he unscrewed the cap, and just unceremoniously, he puts this bottle into his mouth and tilts his head back and starts chugging this Mountain Dew.
Oh, God.
Nice.
He had learned through watching all the people, I guess, how did he liked Mountain Dew or something. But it was so funny to see. It's like, wow, look at it. He just put it in his mouth, unscrewed the cap, and without hands, they have those lips, and just put the bottle in there and upended it and chugged the rest of it away. And everyone's like, yay! It's like you.
And all the enclosure people are going, oh, God, he's not going to sleep tonight.
It's like, that can't be good. That's my thought. I was like, that can't be good for the gorilla. But it was pretty cool to see. I was there clapping along with it like, he's like people. Yeah,
Dubious
anyway.
clap.
That was a dubious clap.
Stop
it!
That is going to make me giggle for the rest of my life. Every time she does that.
Oh, that wasn't me. That was
actually
me.
Yeah,
that was Ashen.
Okay,
but
you have the same problem.
I have to do it with the really meaty part of my hand where she could just use her fingers.
because he's got little girl hands.
I do have little girl hands. Look at these tiny. I'm not like. I mean, they're not Donald Trump small, but they're still not exactly masculine.
Look at the size of those hands.
Those are some good-looking hands.
They're the greatest hands in the world.
They're the greatest. They're
he
huge.
said if my hands were small, something else might be off. I can guarantee that's not the case. Guarantee it.
Guarantee it.
Listen.
Best words.
You guys are ridiculous.
Let me be clear. Those are normal size hands. I have shook those hands.
And normal size ears.
Yeah,
Oh.
racist. Okay, so before Jazz has a lot, so we're gonna use Jazz last. Kishmis, I know you've told it, but I think there was a Fusro Da problem.
Oh yeah, yeah. So my first RP character in ESO was a Nord, and he was a short Nord. That was by mistake. he was like the size of an Imperial, but he had a big ass body.
He's a dwarven Nord.
He pretty much looked like a dwarf. And I gave him knowledge of the Thu'um. And I never used it, but I used it on one occasion during a duel. And it literally disintegrated someone. Hey man, if they're allowing that kind of stuff, then I'm gonna go with it. But it's not my proudest moment. I look back and I'm like, oh, this is bad. He was also a vampire, a werewolf, turned back into a vampire.
Oh my!
Yeah.
One of those, huh?
Well, it was your first character, so we'll forgive you. But damn. Oh yeah, those first characters, they can be doozies. Strafe, you didn't see anything on here. Did you have something? I imagine you do, but I don't know.
I got a long story, a long list of derp stories. Which one you want?
Just pick one of your best.
Can I throw something in there real quick?
If you must.
Go for it.
Okay. I was in the Discord chat. We were told Strafe should share some more derpy stories. I remember a D&D session where a new dwarf barbarian did a heroic charge to rescue me when I was in a caravan jail cage, and her first action was to raise her axe and charge. She rolled a natural 1, promptly dropped her axe, tripped over it, broke her nose, and knocked herself out for the next 4 rounds. So, is there a story there?
I think that was it.
That was the story. Yeah, I'm guessing that was the story. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
I was DMing a game, and that's what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I had some derpy players doing derpy stuff, and sometimes if my rolls went south and they won, I would let them do it. So,
well, let's start out with the part with the dwarf barbarian. I mean, from the get-go, you were already there.
No, most dwarves are barbarians.
Yeah.
I'm thinking barbarian is in like the class like Nord, or like not the class, but the race of humans.
Oh no! Dwarf barbarian is a.
Oh, okay.
Barbarian's a class of fighting.
It's a class in old D&D.
Oh, okay. See, I was thinking barbarian because barbarian's like the species of the Hallis people in EQ2.
Yeah,
now we know that
that
Ashton
always
never
bothered
played
me
D&D.
because they made barbarians, and you could be a barbarian. So you could be barbarian. It was really weird.
Extra barbarian.
Yeah.
This is an ongoing derp story, and it has to do with my screen name. I think you'll enjoy it. So way back in the day, Q1, those were the days I was still digging in Final Fantasy VII. Ashton knows this story already.
Mm-hmm.
But I was into it, man. Sephiroth was the coolest dude ever. Clyde was a cool guy, but
that's why he grew his hair out. He was trying to be like Sephiroth.
Exactly.
That's my lore. That's my headcanon.
That's exactly it. So when I first started playing EQ1, my buddy Sean from high school, we were the nerd guys hanging out, talking about D&D and stuff back in the day. I was like, hey man, I want to make a Wood Elf Rogue. I have no idea what to name him. He's like, I don't know, just pick your favorite character and just make a derivation of it. So I'm like, I can't do that. Everybody's already got Sephiroth claimed, Sephiroth X claimed. They got it all claimed.
Yeah, Sephiroth XX
so I'm
Sephiroth. Yeah,
all those. And I looked at Cloud's last name. It's like Strife. Okay, I'll be Strafe. It'll be great. So I used that forever in EQ1. That was my rogue. When I got to community college, I had a really trolly mentor / professor who would let us play some games before and after class. It was like I think it was Aliens vs Predator 1 and or
Good.
It was Tom Clancy's some kind of Tom Clancy multiplayer game we could play together. So I was always Strafe. Well, he started really trolling us and like naming himself after us, but he would change the name a little bit. Like so he was the first Strafe. He was running around making fun of me, like by using my name with a deal on it. I was like, Strafe, that actually has a better ring than mine. So he started calling me that, and I just kind of adopted it. So it goes all the way back to EQ1 and Final Fantasy 7, and I just can't get rid of the name now. And now it's a major character in one of my mom's books she wrote. I just like, oh god, this derp's just going to keep rolling.
You don't.
So yeah, that's a long derp. There you go.
Don't know the derp side of the name.
Derp. I mean, to this day, I can call my mentor, and if I can get a hold of him, it's like calling Jesus. But if he does answer the phone, he will say, Strafe, hey man, I was just thinking about you. Oh yeah, I bet you were, buddy.
Yeah,
but
liar.
To this day, he's the one that kind of reformed it to Strafe, and I've just rolled with it since, because now it's a term of endearment.
Yeah. All right. So, Jazz, the paragraph.
That's more than a paragraph. It's really long paragraph.
Why did you let her write, bro? Come on.
Not with that grammar. That's not even. It's just really it's one continual run-on sentence. If you really want to get technical,
it's really bad. I just put 3 dots between each term.
All right, so we'll just comment as Jazz goes, because I think a lot of these are all ones we've seen. She just has a better memory than we do.
Do we need to do the derp song?
Derp, derpity, derp, derp.
I'm gonna sing the derp song now. Derp, 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 derp. Derpy, 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 derp, derp, derpy, derp, derpy, derpy, derp, derp.
So I'm going to list these in no particular order, just as I wrote them as they.
Let's slap it on us, Jazz, like a big meaty
First
sausage.
one, my biggest and most peevish thing: the 5,000-year-old vampire in a world where vampires and dark elves were only 2,000 years old.
What?
Yes.
What?
And he was very determined to join our guild, and he was very, very incensed that we would control his RP.
How dare you confine me to lore? But see, that's your story of that guy. That's where I got the thing for the ad, was the original vampire that actually went back time to bite himself to make him the original vampire.
And I think originally he was 8,000, but he lowered it to 5,000, and he thought that would help. And I said, vampires and dark elves in EQ2 are 2,000 years old. There's none before that. He goes, well, then he was 3,000 years old at that time. No, he wasn't.
Part of this
Stop
do you
it.
not understand?
So that was one that's always been my go-to derp story, is that guy. I'm sorry if it hurts his feelings, but it was just, we probably laughed in Vent for a good 15 minutes straight when we read his application. And the corresponding conversation that I had with him in the process was just hilarious. Anyway, next. Virgin vampires who retain their virginity every night. Seriously, why is this a trend? At least 6 or 7 times in my memory, maybe more. I do not understand why this is a thing.
I can answer this one. True Blood.
What?
True Blood.
Oh, so I can blame another goddamn TV show? Is that
True
what you're
Blood,
telling me?
the super hot
Easy
redhead.
there, Jazz.
The,
Easy.
The super hot redhead that was also in Daredevil. She was a virgin when her character was bit, and because of that, every time she slept, she would regenerate back to the form she was when she was bit, which included that.
Okay, and so never mind the biological rules. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Anyway, next one.
What's biology?
What?
So hostile, Jazz.
What's biology?
Yeah.
Okay, next one. Werewolf, vampires, sparkly vampires. I wish I was kidding. Seriously, fuck you, Twilight. When that show came out, everybody was like, in the guild, they were like, do you think we're going to see those? Oh, I guarantee we're going to see those. Within a week after that show started, we had them.
Mm-hmm.
Sparkling werewolf vampires. I was ready to stab whoever came up with that. I was so annoyed. And they were endless drama. Endless. Okay, the half vampire thing.
But they were sparkly, and they were only 200 years old and loved someone under the age of 18, which isn't really
That's so shady.
It isn't shady at all.
No. The half vampire thing. If there's a half vampire in the game anywhere, every single role player playing a vampire is going to be a half vampire. It has to be my second worst peeve right there. I hate Hollywood.
Derpiest thing.
The Derpiest, there's one in EQ2, and that meant that we had to have 50. At least one a week.
Oh, you mean the Derpiest? The Derpy Pier. There you go.
The half vampire. I'm a half this. I'm a half that.
Which also comes
please.
From the anime from Vampire Hunter D, which is an excellent anime, and it's very, very good.
And it also comes from the Spike. No, what was it called? The guy, really hot actor, played
Wesley Snipes.
Wesley Snipes.
Oh yeah, this
Blade.
Blade. Thank you, Blade.
Who gave up in the third movie. Real quick, I'll go ahead and interrupt you, Jazz, here. Go to our call lines real quick for Razor's Edge, if he's able to hear us.
Yeah,
he's having some issues. But
Discord issue.
Are you there, Razor? Are you there? Yeah, it's not working again. Well, come back when you can, if you're able to get it to work.
This is going to take a while, so see if you can fix it.
Discord can, yeah. She's
please come back and save us from this tirade.
She's only got 27 more points to go, I think. So yeah. Just go ahead and work on that. So all right, continue, next. Jazz.
The raw power, totally mortal guy who RP'd killing every Ray boss as if he was the only one that did it,
and continues to do that in ESO.
Yeah, and probably does that here too. Mm-hmm. There's the guy that was the son of the main raw NPC of the game, Luke and Delir. That was worse.
Yeah,
he was
never. You skipped one too there, by the way. The guy who played that he was married to his wolf in every Oh my God! You found the guy that was our dog catcher from last episode.
Probably.
So that's what happened to him. He lived happily ever after with a wolf in the wild.
Yeah. He joined our guild, and he said that he had. And at first, of course, we didn't know. He did get in for like 2 weeks, but he kept bringing the damn dog into the guild hall. And you know how Vodka was about
animals,
pets. That was not her thing. She was like, animals go in the courtyard, put them out there. He goes, I can't. It's my wife. Oh, I'm sorry. What? And I remember this. It was so bad. Tilda was like, "You missed one, Jazz."
Yeah. that net you throw out, that 15 pages of 15 pages of application. I think you forgot one question.
Yeah.
Are you now, or have you ever been banging a wolf?
He would talk about his wife, and then he would talk about the dog. And the way that he wrote it, it sounded like he meant two different people. Apparently not.
Yeah, we have a word for that. It's called furries.
Yeah. I was just like, oh, I said, I gotta talk to you. What? What's the problem? Okay. No.
We're comfortable with a lot of things in this guild. Bestiality isn't one of them. Couldn't you at least bang a cat person?
Yeah, we're a werewolf. We're okay with that. Make it a werewolf in wolf form. He was like, nope, can't do it. They talk back.
So bad.
Okay, we're done.
They talk back. Oh, yeah. Isn't that?
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Isn't that just like bitches? Bitches gonna bitch. Oh, man.
Okay.
Next. Hold on. Before you go on to the next one, let's go ahead.
Okay.
Go to our call lines here. Go to Insomniac. Appreciate you calling Insomniac. How's it going?
Good.
Good. I understand you have some derp for us.
Yup, I have. I want to share my most awful character ever.
Oh, self-deprecating derp. These are always the most fun.
Was it a guy married to his wolf?
Luckily not.
So it wasn't that bad, at least. All right, what do you got?
Okay. Anyways, I used to RP in GTA San Andreas roleplay, and let's just say I had the worst fucking character ever, and I regret it every time I think about her. Anyhow.
Come on.
Details. Spill it.
Okay, she was basically a hit woman that had multi personality disorder, and that was her disguises.
Oh, she was Professor X from the movie where he was crazy with M. Night Shyamalan.
Yep.
And yes, I did say his name wrong on purpose. I know it's M. Night Shyamalan. So, oh yeah,
Let the man talk.
There's actually a huge roleplay scene in that GTA 5. It's crazy. It's
not GTA 5.
Or
this was GTA San Andreas for me.
Oh, it was San Andreas.
Though it has died recently.
Yeah.
Though it has died a lot since it's been out for so long, and with GTA 5 roleplay coming in.
Yeah, being the largest grossing entertainment thing ever created, on top of all movies, media, GTA 5 has made more money individually than any one thing ever. It's a little bit big. So you would play just had multiple characters basically in like one body.
Multi-personality disorder, basically, and those were her disguises.
Oh, wow. That's good.
That's actually not that
It's
bad.
not that bad, really. I mean, of course, the venue had to have been a little difficult at times. Was this something you could type out in, or were you actually voicing this?
Oh yeah, typed out.
Okay. I never played the GTA 3 for like online. I only played the storyline most of the way through.
Yeah.
Before I got distracted by killing hookers.
Really?
What's that the game is known for?
Yeah,
which is why I'll never be in my house.
Yeah, and I still got to go on the phone lines and defend it against that jackass Jack Thompson. So,
well,
yeah, he was an idiot. But yeah, that's as Derp goes. I don't know, guys. I'm gonna give him kind of a pass on that, just because playing multiple personalities. I mean, it's a good outlet for Insomniac's already multiple personalities.
Dude, really?
Wow.
What?
Wow.
I'm just saying.
Oh, Chihuahua.
His name is Insomniac. I assume you don't sleep a lot.
Should I do the crickets to him, Insomniac?
Yes.
No, I want to hear your cricket impersonation. Okay, go.
That's terrifying.
I have never in my life heard crickets actually. What are they, Pokemon? They say the name of their species. Cricket, wow. cricket, crick.
I'm trying. I'm so trying.
Well, what you have to
Somebody's
do...
so blushing is what's going on.
What you have to do, Sib, is rub your back legs together very hard and very quickly, and you can make the noise.
I only have one set of legs.
Well, they only use one set of legs to make the noise. Just rub your calves together really fast, and it should work.
Throw something at him, I would.
Aren't you glad you called in, Insomniac? Oh.
I am so sorry.
I have nothing to apologize for. This is good.
I'm glad everybody else gets to feel my pain. My pain.
Well, I mean, if you can't make fun of the ones you love, do it anyway. Eventually they'll leave, and you'll get somebody that will allow it.
It didn't even stop. It didn't stop at the multiple personalities.
Okay.
I legit was RPing different TV characters and show characters, in a sense, just similar personalities.
So you were just, okay, so there you go. That's a little derp, yeah. So you're like being like...
And then...
okay, you gotta... What kind of characters? What were they? Or who were they?
Well, one was basically based off of Harley Quinn, yes.
There you go.
And then...
Derpier.
And then, let's see, I'm trying to remember others. It's been a while.
Dang, she got that cricket noise down.
Yeah, it only took her 5 minutes to download that on the phone.
I got it, though.
What? I thought she's rubbing her legs together.
Sorry.
Dang.
No, that makes a difference.
Sorry, Insomniac. I didn't mean to interrupt your story.
Hey, it's fine.
I'm going to start interrupting Ashen with that.
Anyhow,
Sorry,
there was
sorry.
these freaking, and then of course to make it worse, she was extremely edgy too. Like even more, like extremely edgy in all her personalities in some way, even if it was something that was supposed to be affable.
Okay, so what you got? Harley Quinn.
What else? Trying to remember. Help me.
No. I don't know. I wasn't there.
I'm just kidding.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh.
No?
Yep, emo edgy. Let's
What
see.
What was the girl on Buffy the Vampire Slayer that was
Faith?
super edgy? Faith, yes.
Faith was pretty edgy, yeah. Played by Liza Dushkin, or whatever her last name was. Super hot. What?
She was super hot. I will give you that.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. She was super hot. I will give you that.
And I had to have her have and for some reason I decided to have her have a penchant for unnecessary torture before actually completing her damn kill.
Naturally, because that is the derp way to go.
Yeah.
So what was there? What else was there? Come on, John. Give us the juice.
Oh good. Oh god. I remember this one RP that was so weird too with this character. she basically lured someone into an ERP scenario and then killed them.
Oh gosh.
So one of her personalities was a praying mantis. Okay, I got you.
Yep, exactly.
Oh man!
And for some reason, I thought it was a smart idea to even though she shot the character, to straight up just put her in bed and say like, "Hey, she overdosed on whatever kills," and I was just,
she overdosed on a 12 gauge.
Oh.
God, I hate when that happens in Italy. You know, the Italian mafia. Like, hey, what can I say? The guy, he's got too much lead in his system. I don't know what happened. He was just eating bullets, and he died. You know, that's just the way it goes.
Got up with him, Ashton. It got up with him.
I don't know what happened to the other side of his head. It was just there one moment, and boom.
Obviously, Ashton, mother couldn't sew.
And to make it worse, it was in the head, and I was just like, really? I look at it and I was like, really? Was I that stupid?
he took a whole lot of lead pellets at 700 miles an hour. I don't know what happened. Oh man, that's some good stuff in Insomniac. I gotta give it to you. That overdosed on a gunshot wound. I'm sorry. He overdosed. I swear to God. How did he eat that? Through the giant gaping hole in his neck? What is this? Oh man. You were not kidding. That is definitely very edgy. So, all right. Well, I appreciate you calling in, man, and sharing your humiliation with us and everybody else. So,
anyways, have a good one.
All right, you have a good one, buddy. Thank you for calling. All right, so we'll see if we can get Razor's Edge on here in a sec. But with that, Jazz, continue.
Okay, so let me get the thing back up again.
Yeah.
Okay. There was Antonia Bale's better-looking sister, and it wasn't.
No, I've seen Antonia Bale. Super hot.
Yeah. Didn't look anything like her. So many people that would sing, "I'm a vampire, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm a vampire, no, I'm not. Oh,
Please
look,
stop
I'm pregnant."
singing.
I knew where it was going. I could parse that one out.
Oh,
yeah,
I'm pregnant. Yeah.
And now I'm a vampire again.
Yeah, and then they'd be a vampire again, and then and it was males, it was females, it was, of course, the males weren't pregnant, but they were all doing this whole, I have a special amulet, or I have a special potion, or the gods let me do this, or any number of different ways to go about where they were only a vampire when they were having sex. And then all the other times they looked perfectly normal and you couldn't tell they were a vampire.
Right. Well, here's the thing. Vampires still have sex. You just don't get pregnant. There's really no reason to enjoy that while being human. It's the same. I mean, given apparently, as you said earlier, some parts might grow back so that you're a virgin every time.
So annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Wakachoto, for the bits and the shout-outs. Okay. I was just giving them quick thanks. You don't have to stop. Yep.
Okay. Okay. The next one was a person who was a fae, but would go out in EQ2 and have sex with giants and had a half-giant baby. Because magic.
It's like throwing a hot dog down a hallway.
It is, man.
Yeah. Sorry. And it was the fae that was the girl. The fae was the girl.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
so that's like trying to put a telephone pole through a cat door.
Yep,
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. They presented the information to us in our application process.
Death by snoo.
And I didn't say anything to them, and they're like, "Did you see my application?" Yep. Am I getting in? No.
Gosh.
Why not? Just no. I'm sorry.
That wouldn't hurt.
Because you're
That wouldn't
basically
hurt, Jess.
50 pounds of stomach being fluttered around and dragged on the ground by a pair of tiny little wings.
Yeah, it's just no. There was also numerous people who had anywhere from 3 to 7 babies, all of which lived, grew up in 3 months from birth to being played by alts.
That's still an ongoing issue with baby
and that's
RP.
an ongoing issue in every MMO I've ever been in, but it happened a lot.
Yeah.
To the point that I was just sick of it. The werewolf girl who just wanted to be loved and then set herself on fire in our guild meeting because no one would love her.
Oh, God.
This happened several times over a 10-year period.
All right,
Don't remind me of that one.
And there was much rejoicing.
Yay! Thank you, Faye, for the Twitch Prime subscription.
The troll, ogre, Kara that just wanted to be loved by elves and humans ad nauseum. That happened so often, it was ridiculous. They weren't interested in dating their own kind, only elves and humans, and then would get silly, pissed off, call everybody a racist because no one wanted to date the troll if they were elf.
Have you looked at them?
Yeah.
Hey, they were missing the game. I got Gormal had dates with elves and freaking human chicks.
Everything. Oh, I know it's a thing, but it was just the fact that they would silly get furious.
It was their in this case, Strafe,
right.
I'm thinking it was their personality.
It was.
Yeah.
They weren't charming like Gormal.
Right. They were like,
there was a guy who was super secret Saiyan, snuck into our guild hall and attacked my character, the matron, and expected to live. And then I wrote in here, yes, you. I remember the whole Derp Fest where you dragged in 2 other guilds because you were butthurt. We turned your application down. After that, due to the fact you refused consequences for your actions.
So why don't you just say their name? Just call them out. It was Strafe, wasn't
Wrong.
No.
No.
Okay, it was Kishmas?
No.
Was it me?
No.
It sounds like something I would do.
No, it doesn't. So he tried to apply to our guild several times. But that was the worst one. The last one, he basically snuck into our guild. He was always trying to sneak in and get in. And each time he ended up in jail and we turned him loose. And he would never get in because it said right in the book at the front of the door, if you break in, you're probably not going to get in the guild.
Yeah.
Just saying. We had a thing that said our wards are not perfect. So if you want to get past our wards, you'll have to group with us and we'll roll. Because in EQ2, unlike ESO, you could actually just /roll. And it was easy and it was fun and it was simple.
Like all games should have looking at you, Zoss, looking at you.
It's not that hard. Yeah. There was the guy similar to this other guy. It was a different guy. That refused to accept that our wards were a thing and agreed to roll, grouped, lost, and then had a 4-day tantrum and brought in 3 other tunes to do the same thing under different accounts, trying to get in, and lost every single time, and claimed that we had hacked his account to control his dice.
Yeah, because that's something we all know how to do.
Oh, yeah.
Is break game code.
And last but not least, Oh no, there's 2 more. The last,
So
the
second,
one that was the
second
worst.
but least.
Yeah, person who claimed to be clairvoyant, I see, and demanded to know my character's background, history, and anything that I was planning for my character ahead of time, so that they could be clairvoyant and tell my character what was going to happen. When I turned them down, and she asked why, I said because I roll. I don't ever know what's going to really happen to my character on a day-to-day basis because there's just no way. Claimed I was being difficult. And she said, I should have known when I read your future the other day that you were just not going to be the guild for me.
Oh,
So,
gosh.
yeah, she thought she was actually clairvoyant.
So, shouldn't she have seen that coming?
Yeah, well, she said she did, but she applied anyway, and she let me know that I was going to die soon.
Well, I mean, technically true.
Everyone's going to die soon, yeah. And last but not least, there was the guy who joined us, and then because in most guilds I've run, get in, you are a recruit for a couple of weeks, and then you are promoted up. You can't do anything with the bank while you're role-playing into the guild.
On account of people rob it blind.
Right. And we had really nice stuff in our guild bank, unlike ESO, where it's really pointless.
It's just garbage.
Yeah. He wanted to know why we didn't trust him. And was demanding in guild chat that we give him access to our bank. And when we said we don't do that, he said, so you don't trust me? What, you think I'm going to steal from you? While all of us in the officer chat laughed at him.
Like, well, we do now. We don't know you. We don't owe you anything. Who do you think you are?
Yeah. So, and I could go on, but those are the worst ones.
Yeah. That you come off. It's just, like I said, it's fun. I mean, we all have, no one's, Jazz, I know Jazz has had storylines. They're just like, in retrospect, it's like, well, maybe that wasn't the, it's just the older you get, the more you look back on things and you're like, that'll be a really fun idea or really, really cool. And you're like, no, that was all bad.
One of my derpiest moments in retrospect would be when I started my vampire guild. Because I was bored and EQ was being a butthead. And so, I mean, not EQ, but my guild at the time was full of a lot of drama and I needed a break. So I went to the other roleplay server in EQ2 and rolled a vampire guild. And rolled a vampire toon. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to do this a little differently. They always accuse me of being an ERP guild, so I'm going to make an ERP guild. I mean, how bad can it be? Let me
what you did, and look, you just asked for it, man.
Vampire RP is extremely derpy and extremely drama-ridden, and an ERP vampire guild is kind of like setting fire to your own hair.
So pretty much you did it to yourself.
That's basically True Blood. Suki.
Yeah.
And the guild went on for about a year, and then it closed because I was done. Not because of anything else. I was just like, nope, I've had enough derp. We're done.
You did it to yourself, Jazz.
Yes, I did.
Wow. Wow. Hey, Sib, you ever gonna come back down?
I am, but I was trying to help Razor. He's
having issues. That's all right. Well, he might have to just wait. We're got a little over here, so unfortunately we couldn't get Razor's Edge
he was
stuff working. Sorry about that, bud, but it happens. Things just go that way. But yeah, so hopefully that was fun for everybody. I know I had a good time. Appreciate everybody that called in. Insomniac, Cabalist, Razor's Edge for trying. I know I'm forgetting people now. Ericus was another one. It's just we had a lot, so I'm terrible at names. But appreciate everybody calling in. Remember, if you haven't, over at twitch.tv/RPMMORadio, give us a follow, give us a like, a subscription, whatever it is that you do over there. We're actually nearing 100, so, if you haven't done it already, help us get to that, kind of milestone goal. We'd appreciate that. The more the merrier. The more we have listening live, the cooler it is. The more calls we can get, and the better the overall show will get if we hear from you guys, because you guys can hear us talk all the time, but people, believe it or not, for some reason, actually like hearing other players talk as well, especially when it's self-deprecating on your own self. Which we won't do too often, but appreciate every calling in. Appreciate everybody being here tonight. It was a lot of fun. Everybody everybody feel a little bit better about themselves? Actually,
yes.
I know I do. I know some of the things that I've had. It's just like, man, I forgot how bad some of these things can have gotten in. I know it's still out there. It's fun. You go take it in stride. You got to try new things. It's just not all going to work.
Can I jump in here real quick?
Absolutely not.
Edge said that can't get in, but he was going to type it out real quick.
Oh, okay.
Is that okay?
No.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Don't
No.
listen to Ashen.
No, it's not okay. I'm starting the music right now. Everybody can hear it, right? The music. It's.
Go ahead and read it, Sib.
It's not playing.
Well, he's typing it out, I think.
So while he does that real quick, yeah, go ahead, everybody. Like I said, follow, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your guild mates. If you roleplay out there, if you don't roleplay, we try to do this show for kind of a little bit of everybody. If there's any topics, again, that you would like us to talk about, I know we've got a crap ton in the pike. We actually have the one for next week about meeting people in roleplay that you roleplay with in real life. Because that just recently happened to me and Sib and Jazz. I know you've met people. Strafe,
Yep.
you've met people, haven't you?
Yeah, but not my close friends like y'all.
Right.
So they were
You've
bad.
But you've still met
They're bad.
You'll be the
They were true
You'll be
derp
the
stories.
cautionary tale, because it is
Sadness.
something you'd have to be careful on.
Oh, yeah.
Especially as there's a lot of really. I'll have some stories. There's a lot of really bad people out there. Watch your kids. Just saying. But yeah, it'll be fun. It was really kind of neat to get to me. I was actually really super
I bet it
nervous
was.
watching them come out of the airport. It's like I don't.
Tell him what sign you were holding up. Yeah.
So-
I got a little sign that had a little picture of an Airsi and it said "Unit Welcome Home, Unife," which
Yunfei.
She actually drew this picture,
Yeah,
and
it
it
was
was
the one she
so cute. So I got to hold that one.
And mine said, "Ben Wilson, welcome back from Brony Rehab." And then it had a little picture of My Little Ponies cheering at the bottom.
Oh, Lord.
You should have seen the looks from all the other passengers that were getting off the plane as they walked by. It was interesting.
I'm sure.
It was very,
gosh.
very interesting. Yeah,
funny
it was,
stuff, man.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. I mean, if you can't make fun of the people you haven't met yet, who can you make fun of? Really? So, but no, it was actually really cool. So that's what we're going to do next weekend. But yeah, if you guys have any ideas on things or stuff you would like us to go over, or interesting stories or stuff like that, feel free to send it to us. We're always up and open. We will have Strafe. You're actually going to have an actual art project. Aren't you excited?
Yay.
That you volunteered for it. I wouldn't have thought of offering it if you hadn't volunteered for it.
Stickers, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the stickers are. You're just gonna make it up, and then I'll, the show will pay for it to have them made and sent to us, and then we ship them out to the people. I'm just wasting time here, guys. Feel free to jump in at any moment. I'm running out of filler. I mean, I'm not
running out of steam.
I'm not Final Fantasy 14. I can't just keep copy and pasting shit and calling it new content. This isn't how this works. Yeah, I tell you guys that. What do? You laugh and you go silent.
Sorry.
Yeah, quit fishing. Yeah, quit.
Okay. Okay. Do you want me to do a derpy story real quick?
Let's try a derpy story from you since you didn't have any.
I haven't been around as long as you guys, so I don't have a lot of derp. But I did have that one where I met some really nice people that were just not my style of RP. It was an Argonian, super nice, and they invited me back to their little guild thing, and I was like, ooh, okay.
It already sounds terrifying.
Well, I walked in, and there was 2 Khajiit and 3 Argonians, and I felt already out of place because I wasn't an orc. I didn't have a tail. To swish around. So I was like, well, okay. So we start RPing, and everyone just got drunk. and started chasing each other around. And I was very polite. I was like, just isn't my cup of tea, guys. Thank you, but I'm going to walk away now. And I have a feeling that one of the other Khajiit that was there with me, she started backing out too, just like I was. And we were both trying to be super nice, and it was cute because they were doing the drunk emote in ESO and standing there, and you wobble around. But I was just like, okay, I am. It's not my kind of RP, so I was like, I'll pass. But to each their own, I say, right?
Yep.
No. No.
I know I used to get, whenever my character in EQ2 would get drunk, she would have Xanis carry her out of someplace, which was always funny because he'd just throw her over his shoulder and walk out with her, and she'd be good and drunk.
That's right.
Oh, I know one that we got in Silver Circle that was rather amusing because he had a good story. He role-played in. It went really well. And after a couple of days, he sent me a text. He said, "Can I ask you a question?" And I was like, "Well, of course. What can I do for you?" He said, "You guys have been really nice. You made me armor, and you guys have, like, helped me out in dungeons, and I'm really grateful and all, but where's the orgies?" I'm sorry, what? I was told that you guys were an ERP guild and you had orgies all the time. Well, you were lied to, son. I'm sorry.
We have oranges. We have oranges all the time.
Oranges.
All right, so Razor's
And he
Edge.
guild quit right away.
Aw, wah, wah.
Yeah.
All right, so since he can't get his headset to work, here's Razor's Edge. My derpiest RP was when a friend of mine was running the tabletop EverQuest. I was playing a Dark Elf Necro. We had to go to this super tiny one-house-sized island in the middle of the ocean to get some info. We got the info, but had no way to get off the isle. We were ported onto it, and nobody could port off of it. So the No Mage put a huge bag of platinum outside the door. He said we had to pay 1 platinum, and he would port us out. He put a huge bag of platinum. Okay, yeah, that's all right. Well, altogether, we only had about 1 platinum, and that would only get one person out. So my character looked at the big bag of platinum, then to his group mates. He then grabbed hold of the big bag of platinum and used his call home spell. Poof! My character is back in Neriak. The other players were standing there dumbfounded. The GM revealed that I got 1 million platinum and deposited the money in the bank and made a new character.
Funny.
Oh, wow.
The things you can do in tabletop.
That's funny.
Betray your friends.
Woohoo!
That's right. So, all right. Well, we appreciate everybody tuning in.
Yeah, it was good.
Go ahead, you can go visit us at rpmradio.com, such and such and such and such. I think I've already been over that ad nauseum at this point. But again, we do appreciate everybody tuning in live and tuning in on the podcast after the fact. This show wouldn't really happen if nobody was tuning in. So because of that, thanks.
Thanks!
I do want to give
thank you.
a special shout out to all of our callers, whose names I'm not going to go over again because I can't remember them off the top of my head. And, of course, my crew, Jazz, Kishma, Sib, Strafe, I am Ashen Phoenix. And join us next time for Halflings, Derpa Derpa, Derpty Derpy, Derpty Der. Next time on RPMMORadio. Good night, everybody. The thoughts and opinions of those on RPMMORadio are just that and should not be taken as the gospel truth, but pretty close to it. Music, as always, is provided by Husky by the Geek. Visit him at youtube.com/HuskyByTheGeek to hear all his great video game rock covers and original music.